Board of Selectmen meeting to order for Thursday, May 11th, 2023. All three selectmen are present, town administrator is present. Mr. Lee Martell's reporting for the citizens of Dunbarton. Okay, gentlemen, I have some minutes from 2 weeks ago.
I'll make a motion to approve the April 27th, 2023 meeting minutes as amended.
I'll second that.
Gentlemen, any discussion on those?
Very well done.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Take a break from reading.
all right, this is where I open up the meeting for those, we have some new people who have never been to a meeting before. This is where I open up for public comment. If you have if you're not on the agenda, if you have something for the public, you wanna bring up to the Board of Selectmen, you're welcome to. So I'm gonna start with the back row. Bob,
All set.
Nate? Back row, anything? No, okay.
I think
Anything
they're
for
on-
this
they're-
public comment?
Oh, the only thing I know is the road agent gonna be up tonight?
Yes, he is.
I was just wondering about a couple of roads.
At 7:15, I believe we're gonna start, 7:10, I stand
Okay,
corrected,
great,
so
thank
stand
you.
by. Good concern. And second row to the back, and sir, you're on the agenda, Mike, you're on the agenda. And, okay, we're all set, okay. I'm gonna close public comment and go right to the agenda. And we are waiting for the road.
Do you wanna go out of order?
I'm gonna go out of order, we're gonna discuss a few things first. I don't wanna talk about, second floor use first, because that's gonna be a little bit lengthy, I believe. And so,
Yes, Jeff, now,
oh,
just
wait,
for you.
put it on the hot seat. Please stand by for the road agent. Mike, I don't wanna rush you through too, Mike, I could've brought you forward, I'm not gonna bring you forward, I wanna make sure, I don't wanna rush you through it. So,
Oh, okay.
we're gonna wait one more minute for the road agent. For those people here for the second floor use policy, we're excited to get that building being used after, I don't know, 13, how many years, David?
32,
Not being used,
the second floor part of it, anyway.
yeah.
It's only 33 this year.
I'm just here, just to.
It's not the same 10, so. Jen, you wanna do anything first? Anything first, on those adjustments?
Maybe next time.
5 minutes before we're ready.
Can we review the expenses?
Lean, can you do review?
Absolutely.
Okay, you got it, we're gonna give you 5 minutes on that.
Alright, so in front of you, you have an expense report and a revenues report.
Sure.
It's still early in the year, the goal is to manage and review these quarterly, so that you can see where the departments are with their budget. At this point, they should be close to 75% or more. The only area, of course, some of these items won't get spent until the end of the year. But we're currently at 79% for the operating budget. One thing I did wanna point out to you is that the electric bill combined for all the buildings with the electric costs, Mike, you have the large spreadsheet in your packet. We have been monitoring the monthly costs and delivery costs for electric bills for the last couple of years because of the solar that's involved with that. And so in that packet that we have this 2022 year in the back, and then the first 3 months of the 2023 year, and you can see that for the first 3 months, we have spent
$8,262.
right, and our total annual budget is just about 17,500, so, hoping that we get some good, breaks during the hot summer months, long days, that will offset, because if you look at the 2022 year, there were 0 charges for a couple of the months.
In
But
another month, it's gonna drop down their rate too, so that'll really help.
Right, and then the,
Looks like the first quarter last year was 4,000, Bryce, it's doubled, and that's kinda like what's happened across the board with the electric rates
Right.
doubling by public service.
so,
And one thing Lean pointed out to me this winter, which is huge, is we're heating the new addition with those
basically, mini splits, I call them. And, those are taking a lot of energy up to heat the entryway.
I'm
Yeah.
concerned that maybe we set them too high or too low, too.
No, they're actually, I think they were set at 65 and 67 every time I saw them.
Okay,
Do you think that's too high? You're just literally walking through there.
You walk in through, but it gives you a little bit of warmth on your way in, it's not coming into a freezing area.
well, we can monitor that.
I know last year they were trying to dry paint to drywall,
Yeah, yeah.
all of their subcontractors were working in there, so maybe this year we can fine tune it a little.
Okay, and, talk about revenues now?
Revenues, I think we're looking really good. Current year to date, we have, there's a couple of lines, the land use change tax, we've exceeded our budget. I plan, that is a number that the board may want to adjust at tax rate setting. I do have a few outstanding that will be going through the tax system. So you'll see that, right now, we're over collected for that budget line by 14,000, the very top one.
Yes.
And I do anticipate other, land use change taxes to come through, this is still early in the year. And then another one that's looking really good is the building department. Their budget is at 20,000 a year, this report shows that they're at 9,583, so they are at the 50% mark. I ran the budget through today as well, and they're actually at 19,289 if you add another 6 weeks to that, so they only need to collect $710, so they will be well above the projected budget for that
Okay.
particular line, so everything else is pretty much on the mark. These are things we'll be looking at on the, half-year mark, second quarter, third quarter, before we set the tax rate. And then if you find that the numbers are coming up a lot higher, the board can adjust the projected revenues for the tax rate setting.
Well, I just wanna encourage people, friends in Massachusetts, come up and spend their money for lumen meals taxes.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I say that jokingly, but last year Lumen Meals delivered a lot of dollars back to the local communities, and we benefited from it. And,
Double our.
doubled what we projected, and I'm hoping that we have another banner year here.
Yeah.
Thanks for the update, Lee.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Road Agent. We're gonna have a public hearing?
Yeah, my turn now?
It is, sir. We just.
I'll come up front if you'd like.
Okay, that's fine, either way.
Okay, I'm gonna, we have a public hearing on the 2023 road projects. This is an annual presentation by the road agent to discuss his plans for the calendar year. Sir, you're on.
Alright, well, I guess I'll start out with just touch on the maintenance, we'll do the usual typical maintenance things, grading of the gravel roads, some brush removal, ditch cleaning, culvert cleaning is needed. You know, that, you routine stuff that happens every year, it doesn't go away, and that's done pretty much throughout the town on all the roads. The other big deal is we're gonna do the second half of the paving from our bond that we got last year. We did pretty well last year, we ran into one big issue that was out of our control right out of the get-go. From the time that we crafted the numbers for the budget, for the paving, the asphalt had jumped considerably, and we ended up paying like $13 a ton, maybe a change, I can't remember the exact number more. So our dollars didn't go as far as we thought they were gonna, which was just the way it is. And so we're a little short on, I think, at the end of the project, it's gonna be costing us like $125,000 more for that same amount of asphalt. So we had to change things up a little bit on exactly what we're gonna do. So, having said that, the roads that are gonna be paved are a section of Flintlock Farm had been done a number of years ago. We're gonna reclaim that, add some gravel, put a new coat of pavement on that. And Blackbrook Road has substantial number of culverts that have to be changed. They're an old metal culvert, and when they were put in, that was what the town was using at the time. Like any other town, nothing unusual, nothing bad anybody did, it was just a decision that was a good thing to do. Well, since then, we found out that the water rusts them out and they collapse and causes problems. So these aren't large culverts for the most part, they're like a 15-inch culvert, but there's at least 10 of them that have to be changed. It rusted out and started to collapse. So it would be wise to do that before we pave it. Yeah, we could probably pave it and get by a few years and, you know, have to deal with it later, but it makes more sense to do it now as part of the project. So we're gonna do that. Barnard Hill Road, that really doesn't need a lot of preparation, some, ditch work and, you know, just some minor things. It's pretty good for the most part. And then, Montalona Road, we've got a couple spots on Montalona Road that are, pretty nasty, and we gotta pay a little attention to that, dig them up and maybe add some gravel and do some drainage work and stuff like that. The unfortunate part is, we're gonna, Montalona Road, what we're gonna do to see how it all works out is pave from the Goffstown town line to basically J Drive. Then there's a really good section of road there that we overlaid a few years ago. Then there's a really nasty section, it's down in a hole, that needs a couple culverts replaced, and the road is really tipped to one side dramatically. So we gotta pay some attention to that. And then after you get beyond that, the rest of it has been paved pretty good, so. That section that I'm talking about with there's two culverts. I should've got the house numbers to give you an idea where it is, but it's close to where Lean lives, and there's some condos there.
By County Road, right?
County Road, yes, by County Road, the intersection of County Road. And if any of you have driven on that road, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So we gotta do some stuff there. Now, what's probably gonna happen is, we're not gonna be able to pave that section this year, because we won't have enough money with the paving and the construction side of it to do all the culvert replacements and shore up that banking that's there. So my thought was to do that next year as under our regular road construction project, that short section, and then it will be all good from there. And the way the dollars work out, that seems to work pretty good. Now that takes care of, you know, and then we have to put shoulder gravel on it, stuff like that. And that'll use up all the bond money, no doubt about it, and probably a little bit out of the operating budget to make it all happen. Then our other large project that we wanna do, and we've been kicking it down, I've been kicking it down the pike a couple of years, is Ray Road. We've done some work up there, started doing some improvements, but we've gotta reclaim that and finish that up. And that's gonna be our goal, and that'll be pretty much it for any construction or anything, cause that will pretty much tap us out. It's unfortunate, but, you know, you all know what your, cost of everything is.
Will the state be doing any road construction in town?
Yes, we got a notification that they're gonna be paving Jewett Road from the Pages Corner, I guess, to, well, 202 and 9, Old Hopkins Road, whatever you want, Hopkins Road, whatever, but they'll pave the section in Dunbarton.
Okay.
I believe that's just like a shim and overlay, similar to what they've done on 13 and Mansion Road and stuff.
Okay.
But that's all there, them, that's not.
I understood, but just so the residents know that, so Jewett Road will be off,
Yeah, that's a state thing, and I'm pretty sure that's gonna happen. They sent us a paper around, they always know this.
I don't think the residents know, but the thing is, the main drag here is all done by the state,
Yeah,
and same with,
yeah.
Mansion Road too.
Route 13 and 77 and Jewett Road are owned by the state, maintained 100% by the state, plowed, sanded, repaired, whatever needs to be done, they do it. We have an agreement that I guess stems back to when they did the flood control back in the late 50s, early 60s, that Mansion Road, Winslow Road, Stark Lane, and Everett Dam Road are state-owned. They do all the summer maintenance, the paving, any type of stuff like that to them. The only thing we're responsible for in the winter is ice and snow removal. So we just plow it and sand it in the winter and stuff, and they take it over after that. A couple times in the past, they've approached the town about trying to see if we had any interest in taking it 100%, but that doesn't really fly.
Questions from another selectman, no? I'll open it to the public next.
The only question I have, Jeff.
Yeah.
We did a bunch of the roads there last year,
Yes.
Morse Road being one of them.
Yes,
I'm starting to see some washouts, you know, we had 8 inch
Yeah.
rain the last couple weeks.
Yep.
Right on the edges of the road, kind of by the mailboxes and stuff.
yeah, we got a few of those we gotta touch
I
up.
figured you might have seen them already, but
Yeah, no, they're pretty much everywhere.
I just didn't want your new roads to get wrecked.
No, we have a bunch of those we have to address, and we been on the list of things to do, but the days, it's amazing how fast they go by.
That's true.
Okay, any members of the public that have any questions for Ray? Yes,
Yeah, I
ma'am.
do.
Okay, start with Mike first.
I sent in a letter a couple.
Yeah, Mike, state your name and address, please.
Yeah, Mike Guiney, 32 Kelsey Road, Dunbarton, New Hampshire.
Very good, thank you.
I sent in a letter a couple of months ago, because my road didn't get plowed on voting day until 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I wanna know, what steps have you taken to see that that won't happen again?
I don't know why it didn't, I couldn't tell you that.
You couldn't tell me that. Why didn't it get plowed there, Dave?
We were up at voting.
You were up and voted all day long.
24 inches of snow, and it was very hard for everybody to get around. I actually pulled many people up this hill up here. During the day, people that had to work at this time.
Great.
So that's.
You are the plow driver for Kelsey Road, right?
Not all of it, no.
Yeah, Kelsey Road. You hired him, right, Jeff?
I
Yeah, he
open the
works
road
for
up,
us.
they come back through, widen it and sand it.
Road that wasn't plowed at all. You didn't open it.
One of the things that is gonna be done this year, in the turnaround is, can I speak to this?
Yeah, you were.
Okay. The turnaround has a telephone pole which prevents bigger trucks from getting up there, and so a smaller truck is required to do it. For this year, road agent is coordinated with the utilities to relocate that telephone pole, regardless of what goes on up there, but relocate it to facilitate a larger truck getting up there, to facilitate the
Exactly.
timely plowing.
That's been a big issue up there, as you know, lack of ability to turn around there with the larger truck.
You and Dave constructed that turnaround. So
That's correct.
this lack of room for the turnaround,
Yeah, okay,
it's
Mike,
not on me.
it's all on me then.
No, but it's,
It is on you.
what's being done, it's being addressed though. The pole will be removed, be relocated to facilitate a larger truck moving, that's the positive news.
Okay, cause this has happened to me like 20 times over the past years, and I've just recently learned that the town only keeps emails and such, which, that's how I've notified the town over the past years of these problems,
But if,
but they only go back a year.
but the thing is, I've worked closely with the road agent, I've worked to make sure the utilities are involved, and that pole is gonna be removed, so we need to get something to facilitate plowing. And hopefully, we have a better solution for this coming winter. I'm being optimistic here.
Well, I don't wanna be hopeful about it, Mike,
Well-
I want this solved, it's been years.
But step one is to relocate the pole, and that's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's out of my hands at this point, it's,
But it's gotta be done with utilities.
Unitil, we've coordinated with them, met with them a couple times, I don't know exactly what their schedule is, but.
Yeah, but we're doing it early enough in the year, we don't wanna wait till November to do it. We're trying to get it done before any bad weather sets in by the end of the year.
And
As
we've
you do
signed-
know, the area we have to turn around keeps shrinking down there.
It's not shrinking,
No, it's shrunk.
well, it shrunk because,
Yeah, I don't know where property lines are or anything down there, I'm not a surveyor.
well, I know
We
where
just-
property lines
We
are.
just do the best we can with what we have to work with, and
No, you haven't done the best you could with what you have to work
I
with,
believe we have.
Okay.
and I believe you haven't.
Okay,
Well,
that's, you're entitled to that
I'd
opinion.
like to bring this to order again, please. As I said, the positive is, action will be taken this year to relocate the pole, and that'll facilitate a larger truck being able to get up there and do a timely plowing.
Okay, so, I'd like to
I'm not
know
gonna
what
promise,
is it-
I'm not gonna promise, but the thing is, I'm gonna say, action's being done right now, because I'm not gonna go up there and shovel for you. The thing is, we're gonna do the best
No,
job.
I get to shovel for myself.
I know, we're gonna do the best job we can, but step one is removing that pole to facilitate a larger truck getting up there, and that's gonna happen this year.
Okay, cause I mean, I've gotten tired of shoveling Kelsey Road so that I can use it during snowstorms, when I pay taxes for snow removal, maintenance, road signs, that'd be another thing. Where's the stop sign on Kelsey Road? Where's the sign saying, slow, road narrows, just like on County Road? Because Kelsey Road goes down to one lane in two different spots there, so you might wanna put up a sign down there saying, road narrows,
Okay,
just like County Road, right?
well, it's a whole different
And a stop
situation.
sign,
It's a
and
whole-
then we could even use the speed limit sign. What is the speed limit along Kelsey Road?
It's my understanding we're slated to do some improvements in there, and we can take care of that when we do it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Okay,
Well, we'll be finding out about that at the end of the month now, won't we?
I don't have no idea, I
Okay.
just know that there was a subdivision approved by the planning board with contingencies, I have no idea where it's at.
Okay,
Well, I know where it's at.
okay, anything else, Mike, there's another
No,
question.
you can either take me off the agenda, right, if I come up here and had my say.
Okay. Go ahead, back row.
Hi, I'm Nora Lamarck, 58 Stark Lane.
Yes,
Thank you, I had two roads, and you already addressed that, Barnet Hill and Ray.
yes.
Now, is there a timeline when you're going to do those?
Barnet Hill Road will probably be done, sometime in the course of the summer. We started on Flintlock Farm this week. The paving company had an opening, so he came in and reground that. We're in the process of doing that. We gotta do a little bit of shoulder work to Barnet Hill Road, and I think that will be the next one. It's not gonna happen like next week or
Okay.
something.
Alright,
And to be honest with you, I'm gonna hold off a little bit on Ray Road, just as we get some of these things done to see how our money holds out. Because once we start, when we do these paving things, what we're doing to Barnet Hill Road and several of the other roads I mentioned is referred to as a shim and overlay. So we go in, we look at the road, we assess it, and it's kind of an educated guess, how much asphalt we're gonna need. And a lot of times, you don't know for sure until you really get into the project and start going to make it work, and sometimes you use more asphalt than you expect, and that just drives the price of everything up. So we do have a limited amount of money left in our bond item, and I think I might not be exactly right, but the quick number is $575,000, I believe. Lean and I have been in communication about it, and we have some other money we can put with it too, so we bonded 1.3. I was hoping to be in the middle, at 600 when we got done, well, we didn't quite make it. And plus, we knew we spent more on asphalt, and the asphalt's up, so we gotta be kinda careful.
so there's a good possibility if you run out of monies, the railroad wouldn't be
We're
addressed.
gonna do some amount of work on it, but we might not tear it up and pave
Okay.
it. That would be, we're gonna continue, late in the year, we started doing a little bit of work there, and then we had to do some other stuff, and then it got too late to go back there, so we are gonna do some level of work to it.
Okay,
Cause
so,
once we have them come in with this reclaim machine, which is the machine that breaks the pavement
Yeah.
all up,
yeah,
we're stuck then, we have to put a coat of pavement on it.
yeah.
So,
alright, and so I know Mansion and Stark and Winslow are all state roads.
Yes,
And
and-
there's a couple of problems on those roads. Who can I contact at the state level to share my concerns?
District 5.
yeah, it's District 5 it's called. I don't have the phone number
We
right
have
now.
it.
But
Okay,
if
I can.
you've got a hold of the office, they have it, and they're in charge of it. It's all laid out in districts, and that's under District 5, and I believe the office is in Bedford, New Hampshire.
Okay, thank
And
you.
you can, and as you know, they paved those, I think it was last year, they did or a
I'm
couple of
Stark
years.
and Winslow, but I mean.
Yeah, the
There've been
Mansion,
a lot of accidents
On
on
that curve.
the fence
Yeah.
and the wooden bridges.
Yep.
And Mansion Road where Katie McDonald,
Yeah.
used to live,
Yep.
right across the way, the culvert,
Yes,
the asphalt or the, whatever it's called,
Yeah, no,
is wearing away. So if somebody goes into that ditch, they're not coming out.
yeah, no, I've seen it. And,
Yeah.
I mean, I sympathize for you, and I hate to say the guy, well, that's not my job,
Yeah.
but I can't expend taxpayers' money
Oh, yeah, I
on this
understand.
type of thing.
Yeah.
On those roads, it would,
Yeah, I'm just
And
concerned,
it's,
yeah.
again, not to be that guy, it's not our responsibility.
I know, but I mean, tractor trailers
Yeah,
and
oh,
dump trucks use
yeah.
that road, and that's,
Yeah.
you're coming up, Stark.
Yep.
And take a left, and you don't know that, roadway is, going away, you could go into that
No,
culvert.
it's a legitimate
Yeah,
concern, I
okay.
agree.
Alright,
And
thank
it
you.
appears to have been getting worse this summer.
It is.
Okay, anything else from the public? Go ahead,
Good
sir.
question. David J, 28 Ordway Road.
Okay,
I just got a couple questions, Jeff.
Yep.
Last year, Purgatory Road got paved.
Yes,
Did the town fund that?
yes, they did.
Okay, what was the decision to pave that road?
Well, a gentleman had done a subdivision, as you know, Brian Nordle. He had come to the town a number of years ago and wanted that road upgraded to a class 5 road. So the town said, that's fine, but you've gotta do all the improvements. He did up to a gravel grade. He did all the improvements, did an excellent job, built it the subgrade, new culverts and everything else. And when he got done, it was very good. And I elected that we should put a coat of pavement on that, so we don't run into the same situation with the road you live on. It deteriorates, and then we have to bring it back. It was the time to do it, the good value, because of the preparation was done. If I remember correctly, when you had a petition that came to the town, one of my concerns was the amount of work we had to do to the road to get it up to a suitable base for paving. This was already done on that road.
Okay,
So that was part of the,
okay, so the concerns I have with that, so what that says to me is that our road isn't being maintained to the level that that person
the
maintained their road.
structure of your road isn't. You could really back up to when the guy subdivided it. At that time, it's nobody's fault, I'm not casting any blame here. The town's requirements to do things like that were less. They made the gentleman give up some land, which your lot came from, and several others. There's a wide right of way, and I believe they had to cut some trees and pull some stumps out, and that was the limit of it. This road, Purgatory Pond Road, was completely reconstructed, brought down to a subgrade, 1.5 feet of select gravels put back on it, and all the culverts changed. Your road has never had that, it's just been added gravel as we need to, and stone and stuff like that, and there's some water problems and other things.
Okay. So, my frustrations with that are, one, our road is a through road and has a lot more traffic.
Oh, it does, I'll agree totally with you.
So, other than that, I understand the financial constraints of
Yep.
the town. I get it.
Yep.
The one thing I would like to see, did you grade our road a few
Yes,
weeks ago?
I did.
Okay, I'm not sure if you noticed that the majority of the gravel on the road was pushed off to the sides.
That was due to the winter we had,
I understand that.
yeah,
Plowing when it's, it
50
was
degrees.
50 degrees and it pretty much, so my concerns now are moving forward, you just graded it, it's terrible condition already.
Yeah, it takes a beating.
It does, so I know you're busy, I would like to see, because the drainage is the problem. on
Yeah,
the
no,
road.
I understand that, and our goal was to go back in there and clean up the edges and all that. We had a pretty good dry spell there, and then we had a lot of rain.
Yeah.
If you go, as you know, like your yard is sopping wet.
Yeah.
And you have water that runs out of your yard and runs down
Yeah.
the side of the road.
And it goes nowhere right
Yeah,
now.
but I mean, it comes out of your yard.
Yeah, no,
Runs down the side of the road.
because
And-
my yard, it comes down the hill
Yeah.
into my yard.
It comes out of your yard and runs down the hill there. And as you know, it's all mud once you
Yeah.
start playing with it. We have to
Yeah.
let it dry out before we can really shape the bank and stuff.
So I
And
just,
that is our goal.
I just wanted you to be aware, because there's a lot of spots where that gravel is pushed up and it's actually
No, I see it.
blocking the drainage area.
No, I see it, but again, like I said,
Okay,
sometimes if you get in there when it's soft and wet, and you try to redirect things, you make nothing but a big mud pie, so.
What was your
Yep.
name
It was,
David, the last name's Jay,
and address?
28 Ordway Road.
He said it for the record.
and, I was aware of it, I saw it, it makes me sick to see it, because some of that's good material.
Yeah.
But a lot of it isn't, it's on top, and it looks like it would be good material, and you could reuse it, but it's nothing but leaves and stuff underneath it. So when you first see it, you say.
I don't know. I pulled it off of the snowbank. There's a lot of good material. I took some pictures.
Well, you're more than welcome to take it and use it around your property if you wanna go with the shovel and clean it up.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, yeah, that's.
If you'll notice, there's not a big mound, of course, mine and some of the other neighbors, but some areas there are.
That was,
And I guess my point was, to get back to Purgatory Pond. The base was set better and you decided to pave it. But the amount of usage on that road compared to the amount of usage that gets used on Ordway Road, it didn't make sense to me when we're pinching pennies for roads, to pave a dead end road with 4 homes on it.
I'd like to pay them all the dirt roads, you wanna know the truth.
I know.
But again, we'd be having this same issue with Purgatory Pond Road that you're talking about on your road. All that good
Yeah.
gravel being scraped off and pushed in the woods and the waste and this and that.
Okay.
So we cut this in the bud and took care of it before we had any complaints.
And the thing-
Again, if
Yeah,
you remember right, if you remember correctly, you brought the thing to the
I did.
townspeople,
Sure,
and the townspeople voted.
they
not to
voted
go.
it down.
They did ask my opinion, and I did say the base and all that needed some improvement in that particular area you're talking about. needs some extensive drainage work, there's ledges there and everything.
Well, I think that's what, so I had to go through the process to go to the town,
Yeah.
to do a warrant article, to get all the signatures. Did they have, they didn't have to do that on purgatory?
Absolutely not, because it'd become a town accepted road with an
I think
adequate base.
that's where my frustration is.
Yeah, but
I'm good.
you're missing something I
No,
said
no,
though.
one
if you
good thing that's
back
come
up.
out of this, I wanna say,
Yeah.
but 4 years ago, I sat with this gentleman.
Planning board meeting.
I sat with this gentleman,
Yeah.
and, we had some old roads which were in, less than satisfactory condition, and they wanted to be brought up by people who wanted to make subdivisions and expand it. Thing is, we sat down and created a list of standards, and so as we look at every road, the standards that were set by this purgatory pond were, some of those were lessons learned of how do we
Yeah.
embrace new roads as we go down. So we have some people interested in Everett Road down here. Everett Road, whoever buys that property,
Has to bring it up.
yes.
Well, I understand that, and
Yeah.
we all
Into a
know that
standard.
Dennis Ordway owns the other side of the road, and we'd love to see Dennis do something with that property, because then he'd have to do
Yeah.
that.
Exactly.
But it's not gonna happen in my lifetime.
Okay.
I don't know what.
No, but that's
Again.
good, that's a good thing we've learned.
And I
No,
get your
no, I
points.
know, but that's the key to this thing is the improvements that were done to your road, and like I said, I'm not casting blame on anybody or saying they didn't do a good job. The town at the time required it, and we have learned due to issues like you're bringing up, that we had to increase our specifications to make it work. So we did with them, and fortunately, we were very lucky that the gentleman, Brian Nordell, who owned that property.
Yeah.
He was a road builder.
Oh,
And
I
he-
wrote on it, he did a
Yeah,
beautiful job.
he knows how to do it, he had the resources to do it, and it's one of the it's better than the paved roads as far as the
Can I
basis
ask
is.
a question?
So, I mean, I understand what you're saying, it's like, oh, why they pay that, but
Okay.
it's to protect the investment, so we didn't have
So-
the issues.
That road was a class 6 road that had to be brought up to class 5 road.
Yes,
And you knowing your numbers,
Yes.
what it would have cost the town if it was us having to have done that, do you have any estimate of what, Brian Nordell put into that project? Cause
I
that's
don't know,
for the
but-
length of road and,
well, if you talk to road builders now, and you say, hey, listen, I wanna put a road out through a field or whatever, they're gonna tell you it's around $400 a linear foot. I don't know what it costs, Brian, I have no idea, it didn't cost that much, because he didn't pave it, but it cost a substantial amount of money. And that has no bearing on why we paved it. My total thing was, the base was good, I wanted to save the base and protect the base, so we didn't run into a situation like you have. It's unfortunate, but I know what you're saying.
I know.
Okay,
If it wasn't for that hill and having to do something with that, and then it narrows up by Arthur's, Bodette's property,
Actually, by Megan and Shane's,
Yeah.
Perkins property, on the corner.
well, right from your place up is wide, it's a
Yeah.
50-foot right away. The gentleman gave that to the town when he did the improvements. And again, I was always kinda hoping Ordways would do something, but
okay,
I don't know what that is.
any other comments, questions? Well, I have one for you,
Yeah,
it's a written one.
well, I already did that.
Okay, it's just a concern about, plowing, and the thing is, we always get concerns, this is the second one this season. Yeah, they tore up my grass during the plow season, and the thing is, I explained to the gentleman, if the road's here, and your lawn is here, and it's a little bit on the shoulder, and you build up a nice beautiful lawn, you put little rocks there and all that kind of stuff, well, the blade's not gonna stop on the edge of the road. It's gonna go in the shoulder, it's gonna tear up anything you have there. So I met with one resident, and I said, don't plant any more grass there. Don't make it high, if you're gonna do it, keep it low and level with the road, so the shoulder's not gonna be torn up again. And, plow drivers, they do the best job they can. I think they do a
I
great
was just
job.
gonna say that, when you read that, it's kinda kicks plow drivers in the butt a little bit, but nobody does it on purpose. Nobody goes out there and says, I'm gonna tear this guy or gal's yard up. When you got a lot of snow, when it's a little soft, it's a game of inches. When you move over a little bit and you push it back.
We're lucky to have the plow drivers.
Mine happens to me every year, I live on Route 13. The whoever plows for the state, whoever the individual is at that time. I live on my road tips a little bit in front of my house, they come around the corner, and they have no choice. It just digs right in and runs it back. I go and rake it out in the springtime. It's just unfortunately, but when you're in a
Well, the
rural
thing is,
America, sometimes
Another selectman said, this is New England.
the other side, it is a catch-22, because we do appreciate people that like to maintain the road right to the pavement, keep the brush cut, keep it mowed and all that. So it is a bit frustrating, but it's all in either town-owned land or town right-of-way, so we have to push the snow off the road, and occasionally that happens. This year was a tough year for it, and I actually, maybe I was incorrect, but I thought we all did a pretty good job. There are a few spots, and we've gone around and
And like,
backdragged them the best we could and all that.
and like, some of the worst things we can do as homeowners is put rocks, big rocks, little rocks right on the edge of the road. And because it's a dangerous situation for the plow driver,
Yeah.
and I guarantee it's gonna tear things up.
Anyway, but I did see that.
Okay.
It's not the first
Okay,
year we've been.
now I'm gonna open up last questions, last thing. Jeff, any final comments for the year?
I got nothing, really, I mean, that's
Well-
pretty much it.
Well, I say thank you for doing a great job. I think
We try, can be a challenge.
it can be, and the thing is, you can't please everybody, but we do the best.
Yeah, like I said, we do the best we can with what we have to work with. We're a small group, we have a budget, but it's not a substantial budget.
And I think
Sometimes we're not timely getting things done, but at some point we get them done.
yeah, this year, I think I wanna put it on the record, it's gonna be a tough year for plow drivers this year. We may have a few retiring, and as a state is almost a third down in the number of plow drivers, it trickles down. And it may hit we're gonna be looking for plow drivers this year, to take on as contractors. And it's gonna be a challenge. And what does that mean? If we don't get any, yeah, we're gonna plow the roads the best we can, but it may be a little bit slower.
Well, we're not at that point yet.
No, but the thing is, I'm putting it publicly out there, it's gonna be a challenge, and we're gonna work to do the best we can, but it will be a challenge.
Can we use the buses as they pick up the kids?
Yeah, put plows on them. That'd be a good idea.
Okay, thank you, Jeff, for coming here.
No problem.
Thanks, Jesse, see you later.
Yeah, the closed public hearing time is 7:37. Okay, now, the next discussion tonight is gonna be about, second floor use with interested parties who, people are interested in using that. And I'm saying, we were talking with Dave, he said, how many years has it been since we had it open to the public use?
33 years.
So 33 years, we've been staring at that monstrosity and it's not been used, and now I think we have an opportunity to, let the community use some valuable meeting space, which has been lacking in this town, in my opinion. So,
No, anyway,
what we do have,
but the other thing is, I hate
Get outside.
Happens at every meeting.
Yeah.
sorry, Mike, that's okay, that's probably good. We have living documents created. Notice I say living means we may modify them anytime as we see a problem arises, but this is our first start at it. So we have a two-page policy, it's this, Dunbarton Town Hall second floor policy use. And it's a general guideline. There are gonna be exceptions to that. And then as an appendix to that, or shall I say, is an application, second floor reservation application. And at this point, we're just allowing residents and resident organizations to use this. We're not allowing commercial companies from Bedford to come in and put on a show there for profit. It's gonna be used for our residents principally and our residential type organizations, such as the Garden Club, the American Legion, the Boy Scouts in town, and some of the other organizations such as that, but not limiting to that. But the second floor is available for library, community functions such as educational, cultural, health-related, charitable, and civic purposes. It's not gonna be available for commercial enterprises or organizations for sole promotions, for the sale of goods, or sale, services for monetary gain, nor purely for private social functions at this time. But the key word there, exceptions to this may be considered by the board of selectmen. We're flexible. What we don't wanna do is have it not be used. We want it to be used. Gentlemen, you wanna make any comments first?
Nope, I think you're exactly right so far.
Justin?
I think you good.
Keep reading.
Okay, now, this is some of the general guidance, we're just gonna go through them quickly. The library may use, we're gonna use it for overflow for, such as guest lectures from the library. They used to have only, standing room only at the library when they had guest lectures. So they're gonna do library type presentations when they needed more room. We're gonna allow music and little concerts to go on. But basically, they're gonna be on hours, when only approve the hours when the library's not open. We gotta be good neighbors and accommodating all our residents who use the library, not to be pounded by music and dancing if that was the case. As I said, exceptions will be determined by the board. A variety, we had talked over the different organizations. It's gonna become first serve, and we like to have it, maybe a time. Sometimes, it was brought to my attention that you can't always reserve it like 30 days out. Sometimes you need a little bit longer time, because sometimes you get a guest speaker in, and a guest speaker has gotta be arranged like sometimes 6 months out. And what we wanna do is make sure that we have enough flexibility where we can accommodate a guest speaker at 6 months out, but it'll be first come, first served for that time slot. And one thing I wanna assure, I think the board, gentlemen, tell me if I'm wrong, but if, such as a library, Mary, I'm gonna use you as an example. If she had a speaker, if she was dying to get for the town, and she boarded up 6 months early, and she had a time slot penciled in that she needs that time slot, and we had a town organization who has got a meeting requirement the same day, we're not gonna supplant her, because she worked with us to make sure that time was allotted. And the thing is, we're not gonna supplant, special occasion type meetings for a town activity,
Just regular meetings,
regular meetings, yeah.
ones that are have to be booked out a
Yeah.
year in advance or any of their sense.
Yeah, the use will come, first served. And that, sometimes we were laughing about that, the application has a time, because if two people came on the same day, if you come at 9 o'clock versus 2 o'clock, the 9 o'clock is gonna have precedence. Let me see. Attendance, there's a significant occupancy, that was approved by the fire department, but we're gonna start off with occupancy limit at 150. We wanna see how that goes in there. There's a couple of logistical concerns we're concerned with, noise, sewer, parking. And so- Seating, we just wanna see how it goes, so we're doing it cautiously as we go forward. Now, here's a kicker one, we're not charging anybody for the use of that room. No, we were thinking a cleaning charge, and the thing is, people get nickel and dime enough on their taxes. This is a service to the community. I think we all agree that, if you use it, it's gonna be a town benefit for the town residents. However, willful or accidental damage will be, the responsibility of the group that's using it. Please don't, treat it as if your own, do not damage the building. Setup and cleanup will be done by the group using the space. Smoking is not permitted. And this was the other thing, we talked about alcohol consumption. We're not having keg parties up there, okay? Alcohol consumption is not allowed except by special permission from the board of selectmen. I think they wanted to be invited by peers. But the thing is, at this point, we're not pushing alcohol at all, because sometimes that just goes on the wrong path. Groups are responsible for leaving the room neat and clean before leaving, and no items be taped or affixed to the wall. However, we're gonna have a bulletin board up there, and you can use that to put something to the wall, but not taped to the wall. I'm gonna put some posters up. No, we just painted those walls. We don't want tape and tacks and all into them. We said prepared food, beverages may be served, but it's the responsibility of the group to make sure they clean up afterwards. We're not gonna allow cooking up there at this time. You don't cook, and the thing is, and my favorite, please, please do not cook popcorn in a microwave up there. Bring a microwave inside, you're gonna cook popcorn for a movie or something. Popcorn in a microwave burnt, it's been in this office too many times. I walked in this office and we had one employee in the past, name will go unnamed, but it was awful. You come in here and you just couldn't wait. You love those smell, but we're not gonna allow it, okay? Again, it's gonna
Where
be.
did you see burnt popcorn?
No, I'm just saying that's, gotta throw some humor
You
here.
stick to what's written.
Okay, it's gonna be carry in, carry out, so there'll be some bags up there and trash barrels up there for carrying, carrying out. And the thing is, there's a minimum of one responsible adult for over 18 must come in the group, anyone under age 17, so in other words, you can't have a bunch of teenagers up there having a grand party with no adult supervision. And if you wanna advertise for it, like put a banner out in the common, we'll allow a temporary banner out there after you talk to us on how it's gonna be used and put it up and then take it down after the facility, the event is over. It's all written up here, this is on the website, Lean?
Not yet,
It will be.
everybody has received one that's probably here.
Okay. And the application is, pretty straightforward, we just want basically a point of contact who we can talk to someone and get it. It's pretty self-explanatory. The audiovisual is brand new, I don't know how to use it, and there's no one in this office knows how to use it, we're gonna get a class on it. If it's a big event, you need audiovisual,
It's so new, it's not installed.
yeah,
I was gonna say, where did that?
it's coming, it's coming.
Yeah.
Let me see, what else?
Pull down screen,
Say again?
pull down screen,
You wait till it's installed, Mary.
okay,
I guess
I
they will
have
be.
one, if not,
They will be.
But the thing is, I think it's, we sat and talked about it, and it's, there's still some little final things that have to be added, I mean, just this week we found, when Mary had her open house to reopen the library, I found like, where's the restroom? There's no marker for it says restroom, so we have little signs that say restroom on there, so we're doing little things like that, so it will facilitate, it's like, when you build a new house, there's always last little things you need to do. Make sure you have trash cans in there, make sure you have signs in there where the restroom is.
Pocketbook hangers.
Hangers in there, all sorts of stuff. All right, anything else on the policy? Good, Leo?
Okay, here where you're, talking about the town organizations, you got like some of the town committees mixed up with town organizations.
Okay,
They're supposed to have first preference, right?
that's correct.
But you got these things mixed in there.
Well,
Another-
We were just giving examples of.
Example, those are just examples,
Okay,
is that
because
all?
another one you missed out totally is, the Dunbarton Rec Committee, our new rec committee.
This
And
is
So I'm
inclusive.
sure they're gonna wanna use that.
Yes, but this is not,
This is
inclusive.
not inclusive of all of them, this is just examples.
Right, well, again, it makes it look kinda different when you're looking at the town committees mixed up with other organizations, doesn't it?
Okay,
You know,
Yeah, in reading that, it looks like some of the town organizations are commingled
yes,
with the
exactly,
other
like,
ones.
understood.
okay,
Such groups include, but are not limited to, that's how it starts off though.
yeah, right,
While I understand that, in a sense, your town organization or town committee
They have a-
shouldn't be, I don't think, included in that, cause they're an exception to what your policy is.
We'll take
Cause if
that,
they need it
okay,
first,
we'd have priority. We'll take that for a recommendation for improvement already on the
it
policy.
just looks funny commingled.
Yeah, understood, so noted.
cause you have the energy committee, you know, these committees might need to meet somewheres and, you know,
Absolutely.
we're asking them to do stuff for the town here and, you know, they have a right to use that.
Yeah, okay.
Can I just comment on that?
Please, Lean.
I've been working with this. Currently, we have this meeting room space, we have a calendar set up, and then the majority of the town committees
Yeah,
know that they
I
have
get
a
that, yeah.
reservation here. It's not likely that they would need a larger space for a larger group unless they have a presentation or someone
But
come.
it's
Public
possible,
hearing.
but it's possible.
Right, right.
The fire
But-
department, you know, it's possible.
So, I understand.
Yeah,
where
I
you're
understand
coming-
the distinction, in other words, don't commingle those examples of
Because,
accessory groups
because they
versus
should
town
have
organizations.
first shot at
So noted.
usage, yeah.
Oh, and if that were the case, then remove all the town committees from there and just mention the town committees would have priority in
On a
it.
separate line.
Yeah,
On a separate line.
Correct.
yeah,
Right, that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
kinda like what we're getting at, you know?
okay. No, that's living document,
Yep, it's another life.
yeah, okay. Yes, yes, ma'am.
Question, when you say that they have priority, and it makes complete sense that they do, if the, or an organization already is booked on the calendar for, let's say, 3 months from now,
Yeah.
and, one of the, how much, I mean,
How much lead time are you gonna have?
yes, that's,
Notification?
yes,
Sometimes we'll have a lot, and other times we're not. What we're talking about is most of those committees will have a public hearing. And we'll start hearing through the grapevine that a lot of abutters or neighbors are coming in for a particular reason.
Such as-
Say a zoning board request.
Right.
Or a planning board when they're doing a subdivision next to your house, and you don't want that there. So you get all your neighbors together, and you're all gonna come into the meeting and try and talk it down. Which sounds kinda funny, but happens all the time. So when we start hearing that, the committee will tell us, hey, next Wednesday's our meeting. We know we're gonna be overbooked for this room, we'd like to schedule that. We might look at the calendar and say, arts and crafts are gonna be up to next Wednesday, arts and crafts are gonna get a phone call and get bumped because of that meeting.
Right.
Cause it's gonna be large.
But
Now,
there,
they may be able to use this space instead. Or vice versa, we'll try and work with them, but the town committee that's gonna have the overflow meeting is gonna take precedence over something else.
yeah, the only exception is, I think we talked about is, like, I'm gonna pick on the library again. The library was telling me that sometimes 6 months out, they have to get the speaker. And the speakers are not, kinda like, a rarity to get a speaker in. And you get a speaker in, and then you're bumped, and what does that do to all those residents there? And so we're gonna have to do some juggling here and see how it works out.
Yeah, as Lean said, it's not gonna happen often. It's not the
It
case.
probably happens three
Just-
times a year from what I've seen,
Yeah, it's just in
different
case,
meetings.
just in case.
But the
It's
thing
only
is-
a subdivision or something's going on that's stirring the
But
pot.
we gotta be flexible, and because we want, as I said, I want it used. We put a
Give you an
lot of,
example, last year we had some logging be done on a piece of property, a farm piece of property. All the abutters got in, didn't think that they should be able to log towards their boundaries. Which it was within their rights to do that, but all those abutters came into our meeting one night.
Oh,
we had
yeah.
standing
People
room
outside and in the hallway and everything
Yeah.
else,
This is 50 capacity.
and if we heard about that, we would, go to that meeting, so it's gonna be very rare, I think. But it could happen.
go ahead, Bob.
I just think it's prudent that you make the exception, so that it's understood that that's the possibility that it could happen. Not that it would happen, but it's a possibility. You're on a committee that's looking at a controversial type project right now,
Yeah.
and supposing they wanna have a public hearing, and
That might
people
jump
wanna
off.
come in and hear it, you might have this inundated here with no possibility of everybody knowing what exactly is happening till they pick up the Concord Monitor. You know?
Hey, the key word I think Bob's bringing up, we gotta have a little bit of flexibility to move people if we have to. Okay,
And one of the other reasons, you might see in there and wonder why we only did 3 months. So say the boys club signs up for 3 months, the same night every month. We wanted to give other opportunities of use for that space on that night to other committees. And so this is gonna be a work in progress. After we go through the first year or two, we may be able to have it so,
So
those
the
programs could go out for a longer
for a
period.
longer period of time, if we found that no one used it on a Thursday night, or like a Wednesday night, no one ever used it except the one group, we might just let them go the whole year, pencil it in for the whole year.
So it's gonna kind of be a work in progress till we see how it all works out, who's fighting and who's butting heads.
And we're gonna try to be arbitrators here. Now, the other thing is I wanna bring up is security of the place, which entry will be by key. The key will have to be returned by a responsible person to Lean the following workday.
So there's a code to get into the town hall area up top.
And the code will be provided to the responsible adult, putting the application in, the key will be, the external key will be provided.
And it won't be provided to them except for a day or two before their events, because I don't want these keys
Yep.
floating out there, not.
And so she'll have a couple copies of the keys, so they'll have to be returned the next business day they're open. If it's a Saturday afternoon, obviously not till Monday.
So at one time when we were using the other door, we got a key from Lean, and then, we were able to drop it in the mailbox, that night.
We could set
that
that
is
up,
not
too.
an option, is it,
Yeah,
Lean?
that's still an option.
Okay,
As long as-
because otherwise
as long
a
as
person
it's
would have to come
communicated-
back into town again.
Right, I
Right,
guess
exactly.
it would have to be clearly marked on like a sealed envelope that, who
Okay.
it's from and
Okay.
that type of thing.
Alright,
So it saves on a little
Okay.
bit of driving,
Agreed.
Yeah.
That was, common sense is gonna reign here.
yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, so we have our first application here, gentlemen.
We actually have quite a few here. I had just mailed out or emailed out the policy and the application, but we did get one returned that was completed. So I think I have a couple more here
Let's go
that
take a look
have
at
to
Yeah. I'll let Dave, if you wanna review that.
If you, okay, for any organizations that are intending to use the space, have you completed your application for the selectmen to review?
I think we sent it in, the Dunbarton Garden Club?
That's the one.
That's the one we have.
Yep, and then Fireside?
This one's getting rejected right off. April through December, come back with a good date.
But you see where we're going initially, only 3 months.
yeah,
And you know, like we said, next year this might all change, so.
And now, we have another one here, Dave, I'll let you finish that first.
That's an official application for the second floor.
So I don't see any problem with this one here, audio visual
Did you get
required,
yours?
yes. Just one thing I wanna state about the audio visual, that's been purchased and it's in shipping and transit, so when we get that, it still has to be installed, so right now you're gonna be using a room, has very good acoustics. If you have everybody quiet up there, you'll all be able to hear very well there.
The lighting's fine.
The lighting's great.
fine.
Dave, Dave,
Good.
well, that new system, will that need someone to be trained, or,
It will,
okay,
and we're gonna work through that as we get to it.
yeah, okay, I'm just curious.
There will be a couple of specialists that will have to, show people how to use it.
Yeah, right.
And then if people from these groups have a specific person they want trained in it, then we'll have to work on
Yeah,
all that.
okay.
Do you have any idea when?
I don't really, it's gonna
It's
be,
relevant to my request is what I'm
It is?
asking, yeah, like a month, 2
we
months?
sent it into an independent company, we haven't gotten a good, response back to them as far as the timing from it. But it's a group that's helping us out with the pricing, so we don't really wanna push it
Yeah,
down.
yeah, I get it.
And the installation. So, we can certainly notify you as soon as we see that. But I will tell you, the acoustics up there are super. In fact, if you play the guitar on there, you're gonna hear it.
Yeah.
I mean, it just, when you go up there and talk, it just, it's very, the room, at least now, is not fitted with a lot of items in it, so it, you can hear very well. Like just this meeting right here would be very loud up there in comparison with the same last.
And now, we have another one here, Old Home Day Committee wants to have a meeting up there. And, they wanna meet in the foyer, I don't know how we feel about that. We don't have, we got a meeting table in the foyer?
Already is one, I think
Yeah.
they're talking about the foyer entrance downstairs,
Yes,
and,
Yeah.
it's at 7 PM, there's a table down there. And, they asked me about it, and I said, I didn't see any issue with using that foyer area.
it doesn't really, it's not the
They're in there
upstairs.
now. They were in there
They're
when I
using it
left, they're
tonight.
in the
Okay.
front foyer, using the table,
Yeah.
and keep.
I don't see a problem with this.
So, for the garden club, we see no problem for the next 3 months.
I'm sorry, could you say what days they want it?
They wanted the second Monday of every month. And they're gonna live in the first 3 months.
3 months at a time.
And Lee will have a calendar if you needed an update.
Mike,
I'm just gonna try to keep track, cause I wanna get up there and do a test run and see what it's like for what we would need to do, so I just wanna pick a date that other people have picked.
Mike,
Yes, yes, sir,
the Old Home Day Committee is a town committee.
correct.
Yeah.
Now, I was just questioning we're having some discussion about one of the room that was at the very top of the landing as you go upstairs.
Yeah, right,
It's big enough to do a small meeting room in there.
Yeah.
And we were just banting an idea of putting a little table in there in addition to the foyer. I mean, if people are small enough to meet in the foyer, that's fantastic, but, I think I was talking with the library director that we could actually make a smaller meeting room right in the corner there. And again, it's all about meeting space.
Yeah.
playing poker.
And then we were just bantering ideas back and forth, poker,
Okay.
yeah. We didn't put gambling on there, did we? We didn't wanna rule a bingo
Could
for
meet
you.
in the basement. I'm too old for bingo. Can't see the numbers.
No, that's on, going on this right now.
We can change my date as it goes through, but that's. Oh, I thought we had more, sorry.
You're the second official. Exactly, yes.
So going forward, these organizations that have met before the board no longer have to go through the board, you'll just be going
We
through
can just
the
go
town
through you,
office.
okay.
Yeah, and then I'll have my office staff trained to be able to use the book and then go through the process of the application,
Okay.
contact person, and, even a walkthrough for using the keypad and the key and whatnot.
I think the only exception was when you need to book a date a little bit further out due to logistics of getting a renowned speaker to come in. We'd like to pencil that in, talk with us so we can pencil it in earlier. That's an exception to the policy.
So, so I'm Liz for being, oh, go ahead.
Okay.
The Dunbarton Historical Society has the same issues as the library, because we book humanities programs
Right, and Lean alluded to that, it would follow the
And
same
they're booked.
procedure.
90 days in advance. And they go all over the state, so we have no idea, and we couldn't afford to have it canceled 2 weeks before the event.
Exactly, and that's why we wanna be accommodating to that. So, the answer to you is, I say, what I said to Mary is, yes, that will be the appropriate exception to the rule.
Okay.
In other words, we're following some common sense. Okay,
Liz, go ahead, I guess.
So, so sorry, I'm Liz Fredina, and I, for 10 years or so, I ran the open mic at the church
Right.
before COVID. So, now that things are opening up again, I think our room's gonna be a little bit small, the vestry's kinda close. So we'd like to explore the possibility of using the town hall for, the open mic. I understand that we might not be able to get it every month, so we have to kinda think about that.
Now, you only put in one date?
Right, so we always meet on the third Saturday of the month. And what I wanted to do was go up there, see what the sound is like, figure out what we would need to bring. We generally, everything that's on your list about setting up the room, cleaning up the room, taking out the garbage, we do that all the time anyway. So none of that's a problem. We do serve, a hot soup with crock pots. I don't know if that's allowed, you said that no cooking.
it's prepared, but it's already prepared
Yeah,
there.
prepared food's
Oh,
okay.
okay, fine, and then, is there a dishwasher there, or do we, it's all,
No
Cash-
sink or dishwasher.
No sink or dishwasher.
okay, no sink,
Just a bathroom.
I'll have to think about that. Okay, and then, but currently you're not sure when the
The sound system's
gonna
gonna be,
in.
right.
No. What you're not using the sound system over there,
I bring my own,
so you could bring.
right,
over
and
there.
that's why, I was kinda wondering, so I picked a date on the 4th of June, which is kinda soon,
Yeah, you won't have anything right now, I'm sure of that.
okay.
We're not planning on seeing that before our open house there either, which is on June 10th.
Oh, you're having an open house on June 10th, okay.
Basically, the open house is, so for the many residents who voted on this, we wanna show them the finished product.
Yeah. Are you gonna have any events up there, or you just have them walk around?
Walk around.
Okay.
We are,
Well,
we are
a little
with one
music.
local artist coming to play, George Bolton and
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say that's perfect, I was
Yeah.
gonna say if you wanted music, but he's great for that.
yeah, we did talk about having you guys come in, like.
Well, we're just opening up this next week for the first time, so.
One thing we were talking about at our, town hall restoration committee, cause we're gonna be trying to roll that committee over to like a use committee where, they can initiate the type of uses the town would like to see there, and one of the biggest things, people like to see, some music, live music, acoustic music, whatever, and I think so that, to me, is very interesting, cause I think that it'll fit well.
So we typically have,
Especially in the evening hours when Mary's not open.
yeah, well, yes.
Mary likes music though.
70s, 80s,
Okay,
That's
go ahead.
actually what a lot of our players play. Okay, so we typically have maybe 30 to 50, so I imagine that the parking around here will be fine for that. If you get more people,
We said limit was 150 we're going for right now.
You're asking
But
about
that's not,
parking?
but parking is the.
The thing is, parking can be done at the school, and you can walk from the school area.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, what we don't wanna do is park, we haven't really addressed parking too much, but some of the residents who live right over here across from the,
Yep.
we don't wanna block their driveways and get on their lawns and
Right.
stuff like that.
So they wanna park on this side of the road, use up these parking spots, there's 10 more over at the library / town hall, and then overflow there.
And they'll probably park in front of the church a little bit too.
Yeah,
Um,
and people, we've used that building for years and people find spots to park, I mean, Old Home Day, hundreds of people park here somewhere, so.
Chairs and tables?
There's chairs up there and some tables.
Okay, so the chairs would accommodate up to, we're not gonna have 150, but.
They're like these, they're not fancy.
Really?
They've been cleaned and refinished a little bit, and they got nice new, feet on them, so they don't mar up on new refinished floors.
But all the stage is redone and all the floors are redone.
Dave, did you move the tables from the school over there?
No, they were moved down to there, but there are 2 tables that were up there, which were those wooden ones already.
So would that be room for refreshments if we,
Yes.
if
Oh,
the tables
yes.
up there, okay? Sound system.
So there's no single chairs, they're just,
There are a few singles, I think there's 4 up there,
Oh, these are attached. Okay,
but there's rows of chairs, there's
Before speed would
there's 105 chairs, I think, up there that I counted.
so we sometimes, get a lot of players, and go pretty late, is there an end time that you want to enforce?
I thought we put one on there, but I don't see.
I didn't see it, is why I asked it, like,
Thing is 4 o'clock in the morning, does that sound reasonable?
How about if
I would say
the neighbors
we-
might complain?
on a late night, we would be cleaned up and closing the door about it.
Alright, the thing is, already, let's say you were doing it at the church, the vestry, you'd be parking right here anyways. So there's no difference, you just have a better, venue to put it into.
And
Yeah,
we
but I
do
think
ask, and we do
would
ask.
follow the noise ordinance at that rate,
Right.
as long as it's something that can't be heard outside the building.
At 10.
I have no idea, we've never played in the
Well,
building.
that's what I'm saying.
But
I'm
the
just-
neighbors go to the open mic, so
Well,
hopefully that'll be okay,
But that's something we should talk about. And,
Put a note there.
yeah. For the first time or
Closing
two,
time.
well,
We were thinking of meetings more, and so if a meeting runs over, it doesn't really hurt anything, but open mic night.
I was gonna say, if you get any kind of a concert, cause another thing I would like to do periodically, I don't have it set up yet, is, to have just regular concerts there, cause some of our performers, publish CDs, you know, they record albums, and so it's nice to have a release party, invite people from the public and that kind of thing, so I would like to do that maybe on an off night, but that would be on a one-off basis.
so I think the number 1 addresses date and time of application, and then reservation date and time. So I think it was coming before the board.
Telling us our time that you're gonna need that, so
Yeah.
on your application, did you put the time ranges in there?
Yeah, for this, yeah, I think I said 1 to 5, just for me to get in there and
Okay.
Okay,
and then when I figure out what we can do and use it for, we would probably need to set up starting at maybe 4, people arrive around 6, and then I'd probably close down around 11,
I don't see any issue with
so.
that.
Yeah, I think, like everything will be a work in progress, let's try it out, if we get some complaints, we'll have to work with it. I think our ordinance is 10,
10.
so if it echoes outside the building, we might have to watch that.
Right.
Okay,
I think that's the biggest concern, I mean, other than parking, I mean, it doesn't matter how late people are here for work. but-
you just
As long
had
as
that
you
whole
keep-
thing done and you didn't have them soundproof it?
If you saw that structure, you'd know why it's
Is,
all beams.
yeah, I know, is there air conditioning in it?
There is not,
Can we open windows?
you can't,
The summer gets a little toasty.
but you'd be surprised if that's closed during the day, it's cooler than anywhere you're gonna feel.
That's good to
It
know.
does have an air handler in there that recirculates the air to keep it fresh. And that air handler in the summer is supposed to keep it around 70, in the winter it's supposed to keep it around 70,
Very
so
nice.
we're gonna be testing that and seeing how that works
Yeah.
as well.
We're just looking at an electric bill, we're trying to balance. How much do we make people sweat and freeze?
So we typically request a $5 donation at the door. Not everybody pays it, but, so we're, generally $100, $150, something like that for, if we use the building, we would like to contribute something towards the electric, and if you have any kind of a guideline for how much we're using. or
Well, we
don't.
were trying to set 25 or 50, and we went back and forth, and so many people helped donate and paid for this through their taxes. We decided not to set any amount, and what we'd like to do is just have, different organizations donate.
And see how the first year goes. I mean, if we see organizations which are, shall I say, abusing the beautiful building we have, they'll either be banned from
Right.
using it in the future, or we'll ask them for like a non-refundable deposit.
Right.
But the thing is, we didn't wanna come out of the gate, initially and just demand money from
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, and we realize that some money people are gonna get for donations are gonna go to band members, and some will come back to the town in different organizations, so. Some are gonna do a 50-50 split, whatever works out for us and you guys, and it works out.
I think what I'd like to do too is those donations will get deposited into its own revenue account.
Yeah.
So I can track what we're collecting to see if it help offset, you know, what we pay our cleaning crew to.
That's one expense we did incur is already, we wanna maintain the building, and so once a week, there'll be someone up there doing the thorough cleaning.
Okay,
No, it's actually just the foyer is what they're doing.
Of where, yeah.
If we have to hire them to do,
It's per diem
it's
as
a
they
per
come.
diem for the room, so if it gets sticky and it gets,
Yeah, and
Really needs some
sometimes you get a rainy
cleaning.
night in there, we're gonna wanna get someone up there to clean up the floors.
yeah.
well, as long as you provide like a broom or, you know, that
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of thing,
we'll
so
do
that,
that.
so when we're done, we can
Yep,
sweep it out.
They'll be
without
available
that.
for you.
And then you said that there's no commercial ventures, up there, but if somebody is selling their CDs or something as part of their performance,
I don't think that's
it's not a big moneymaker, but it's something that we request, we let them do, that's a.
I mean, if the principal thing was to invite people up to buy your wares.
Right.
That's, I just wanted to make sure that that was okay.
The principal thing is that people enjoy the music.
Yes.
It's like almost a sideline. Again, the key word here is, I think, gentlemen, common sense, yes? Okay.
So the first time that we might wanna use it would be maybe July, I think it's 17th, 15th.
So you'll be trying out the hot weather night for us.
What's the date in June you said you wanted to go out there?
So I was thinking June 4th, if nobody else is using it. It's a Saturday.
I don't think, is that Saturday?
I don't think it's a Saturday.
It's the
10th,
third.
Our open house
It's
is.
the 3rd.
Oh, yeah, yes.
I could wait for your open house too, but I just,
No, go right
I
ahead.
think it'd be worthwhile for you to feel comfortable.
okay.
But what's the actual date you have told me?
It should be the 3rd.
June 3rd.
June third?
Change it on that.
I'm changing it for you.
I thought I put the right one.
I think it says 4.
Which one it
It's
does.
changed.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, with the garden club, we have at least 4 speakers a year, and we're trying to involve the community more. Part of that is opening up to a Zoom, so people that maybe have mobility issues can participate. What's the situation of the Wi-Fi or the
Talk to
internet?
Mary about all that.
Well,
Okay,
No, I'm just kidding.
no, there is Wi-Fi in the building. I haven't had a discussion with Mary.
Wait a second, I'm meeting with the electrician on Monday. They're running 2 new fiber optic lines upstairs. So we'll be providing a separate Wi-Fi for the 2nd floor that isn't connected to the line.
I wanted to talk about that. It's a big
Okay.
waste of money. Thing is,
I know it is a waste of money,
no,
but
but,
that's what the library wants.
but we wanted to talk about that a little bit. The thing is, I don't wanna go into details here, but a Wi-Fi router can usually handle up to almost 50 to 60 people connected on site to it. And when you send it out when you get, say, a video, that's one user sending it out to the internet. And I'm looking at town dollars, do we need 2 Wi-Fi routers up there? Router's just the little device that allows people to connect, when you can have almost more than 100 users comfortably on one router.
I think you'll need one up there, because of the structure of the building, the wood, the metal ceiling.
Right, but the thing is, I think,
Our wireless connection doesn't really work on
no, but the workaround is too simple. The workaround is you put an extension on it, using the same line, you basically put an extension, what they call, hotspot.
Yeah.
Speak to our IT guy.
Right, but rather
I
than,
did speak with Alan at length about it,
Yeah.
like,
yeah,
he thinks that there's too many chances that somebody might be able to alter something into the library.
Okay,
I've been around in circles with them about
Alright,
it, so.
but let's answer the public, the question is, it's a work in progress, there will be, maybe not immediately, but there will be internet access up there.
Okay, thank you.
So, one of the lines, the reason we're running two is in case we end up with a Lulu for the stage, they'll need a dedicated line, so while they're running one, I ask them to run two.
So can you answer my question then? What do we have there now? Didn't we run a fiber optic for that
That's for the elevator.
elevator only, dedicated?
dedicated.
So we're gonna have to install a second,
We're running one from the basement.
Yeah.
Up to the second floor,
yeah,
and so we'll have a connection, so in case we wanna put our own internet access in. So what Alan suggests, having our own hub with our own password up there on the second floor,
okay.
doesn't affect the library at all. I went around and around with him for 2 hours.
So there'll be two
Mary was
monthly
there.
fees is what I'm getting at.
Yes.
I'm just trying to figure
I
out.
met with him 3 times on it, so.
Okay.
So I'm just curious, is that different than putting like a guest, you know how you can kind of split your home router into home and guest?
Correct.
Yeah.
Can you not do that so you don't have it the extra?
I think
expense?
we need to talk to some IT professionals, because I have big.
She has her own IT guy, but he has theirs split up already.
Right,
Oh,
For multiple
that
things.
makes sense.
And he
Of
doesn't
course,
wanna,
that makes
he doesn't
sense.
wanna cloud it.
yeah.
Yeah, I forgot, we don't need to.
So,
I wonder what speed is your router?
We're only at 50/50,
Okay.
just enough for what our needs have been. But if, you know, if I have.
I'd like to speak to the subject matter expert. I don't think we're gonna decide anything here, but there are options we're pursuing to make sure there is
Monday,
internet
I
access.
guess.
well, Monday the lines are going in, so whatever you decide after is fine.
Yeah,
The lines will be there.
well, the line, but they don't have to be live,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
Okay,
we're just putting the lines in and there'll be a spare line coiled up in case we do the Lulu in the future.
Okay,
So you won't have to come back and run a line.
and having the availability to expand if we need it, it's nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Any last questions on the upstairs? Go ahead.
I just wanna know, you have applications and you did mention the garden club and open mic with Liz. Are there other applicants?
We've had something, I think the Boy Scouts had.
yeah, I received like 3 or 4 emails. I did try to send out to everyone who had, the unfortunate thing is, it came to me through someone else, so they said, oh, I heard someone came to me and said they would be interested, well, I haven't heard from that individual, but I heard through the third party. So I tried to include them in the email, it will go up on the news on the front homepage of the town website to let people know that we're open and, reservations for the second floor can be available by meeting with the board and going through the process, so.
Eventually, we may just, this is a new process for all of us. We may just dump it on the town administrator and let her run with it afterwards.
She might run.
She just loves that when I say that. Look at her, she says, job security and I need a pay raise now. No, all things aside, again, we're working through this, as a new process, we do, as I started the meeting out, we want it to be used, it's for the benefit of our citizens. And, we just don't want it to sit vacant like it did for 33 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for your attending on this part tonight. Any last comments, gentlemen? Justin?
So, can I just say one more thing?
Yes.
So Allison's here tonight, speaking on behalf of the Historical Society. So that being said, she's heard the board. Allison, if you find that in a month or 2 months you have that information and you wanna fill out that form,
And we're in the process of setting up a schedule.
all you have to do, I think, personally, is submit the form, I'll stamp it received. Selectmen will review it and say yay or nay, and I'll get back to you. So it's not that you have to come back every single time.
You've
unless
already been
there's-
here.
Unless there's a really unusual circumstance of what you wanna present or.
We'll be using it on an intermittent basis because our programs are scheduled mostly in the summer and in the fall, and we don't meet in the winter.
I know, I welcome you, I really do. Okay? Anything else? Okay, gentlemen, let's move on to the schedule. Mailbox items. I'm gonna just close this section of the meeting talking about the town hall, town hall library, we gotta get a better name for that. Second floor,
Upper
It's the
town
hall,
hall.
this is town offices.
Upper
That's
town hall.
upper town hall, thank you.
Dunbarton Town Hall, second floor, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
too many words.
Well,
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, I'm really excited
Nice work,
to see
Mary.
Well, we are too,
what
we are
happens
too.
with it, yeah.
You ought to be on the Kentucky Fried Chicken Committee.
I tell you. Okay, mailbox
Did you
items.
wanna introduce yourself to the selectmen?
My name's Mike, and I just,
Are you new to town?
huh?
Are you new to town?
A few years,
Okay,
my family's from Manchester, and we've been here for 3 years.
okay, so Mike came this evening to get a better feel of what town government is like,
Yeah,
and possibly get involved with the town more in the future, so I thought that was a very.
They're always looking for volunteers.
I know,
for all
you
the
gotta
different
go.
groups.
and I just wanna make sure, I'll just keep coming to the meetings, and we'll go from there.
There you
Now,
go.
there's not just our meeting, you know, you got, energy committee meetings, there's
Right.
all these different meetings,
Conservation,
planning board, zoning
energy.
board, so.
This is a bad example
Yeah,
of town
just,
government.
I'm retired, so, I've been involved in service work my whole life, so,
Well, welcome.
we'll see you guys.
We're ready for some free services.
What's that?
We're ready for some free
Oh,
services.
yeah.
Thank
Well,
you.
Thanks
you
for
never
coming.
get enough.
All right,
There's
take
always
care.
more to do. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for
Have a good
coming.
night.
All right, mailbox items. Old Home Day, we already talked about that, yep, did the complaint, yep. All right, got the flag. I think Dave said, Dave is gonna volunteer to come in every time the flag is gotta be lowered, he said he would come in and lower it.
I'll lower, but I don't know what's going up.
No,
So, is Mary still here? Had we brought it up just a little bit earlier, the comment that came, so for the public's information, we have proclamations that come from the governor on a regular basis. In the past, we've had, veterans that were either local, that would volunteer to go and, raise and lower the flag. At this time, the last person was on the police department, who's not really,
Why don't we
working.
bring that over to the chief, give that to him.
I did you see his response there?
he says, he says he'll like to do a partnership with the library and town offices, he doesn't wanna do it by himself, be
Right, so
responsible 100%.
Before it was Dan Sloop, and because he was here on a regular basis, he said he was willing to do it, but in this case here is, his department's short-staffed, he doesn't think that it should be totally on him. Mary did say that she would be willing, I'm gonna need some boots and, shown how to do the flag, cause I'll probably make a mess of it, but,
It'll be completely lowered.
and Mary says, just don't get it to the very top, cause then it'll twist around and get knotted, and then we have to get the fire department out there to unknot it to get it down.
Yeah, I even did it for about a year.
You did,
I
that's
think
right,
you're
I called
closest to
them.
town,
close
I
to
think you
town.
Yeah.
should step
I
up.
don't see why you don't put your thing down there.
It's a new committee.
And your liaison for the police.
Listen, Nate is still
Oh, yeah,
here.
he's liaison.
Nate's still here.
Looking for volunteers, Nate.
I'm here in the evening, but not in the morning.
Oh, by the way, just to let you know, I'm glad you're safe, we heard about your machine get stuck on in the snow, we're glad you didn't get hurt.
Oh, no, no. Stuck in the mud
Yeah,
on a dirt road, imagine that.
On over
okay,
I think, Mike, you being up here close, you can organize that with Lean and the librarian and the.
I'd like to just make a policy that I think like goes to the chief principally with alternates of, the town library, assistant, library director, and then Lean's office as the last resort. In that
Unless you
order.
wanna make the town clerk part of their job.
Ooh, she's going after her. Go that way.
So put
I don't
a feeler
have an
out there
answer.
and see who else could help.
You wanna, yeah, you say,
Do I ask the staff if they're interested in participating in this?
Yeah, why don't you do that?
the staff, oh, and also the American Legion in town,
But there's no one near the common
Let's do that at one of your health
They're at
source
the
luncheons.
furthest point of town except for you, you're the closest.
right.
Committee of one.
Did you say you made a motion?
All right,
I'll second.
let's put this,
Reach out,
reach out, see what we can go ahead and get.
yeah, to the different girls there and see.
What about Don Larson?
he's a little bit
I
further.
thought he was right,
Fresh
Not that
air.
further out.
I thought he was right.
Yeah,
Some fresh air in the morning.
You should reach out to him, he does love flags.
Yeah, I was
Loves
gonna say,
flags,
he
he's
loves
all about
flags.
Touche.
Put the feeler out there and see what he says.
Okay.
Worst he
hold
can
on.
say is no.
Alright, next item.
Alright.
We got a request for this historical awareness committee, and they're putting a trail marker for the Black Heritage Trail of New Hampshire. It was,
This was brought to the cemetery trustee, we're in full support of it, this has been, I think,
We
6
need to
days.
give a letter of support to back the cemetery, it will help her get it through the organization that gets there, from what I
So-
understood in our meeting.
Justin, did
Correct.
they explain exactly what the Black Heritage is? Is this like a grant thing? Is it a?
No,
what-
it's no grant thing to it, it's a,
it's a trail marker.
it's a trail marker, that's gonna be at the Pages Cemetery,
Yep, at Scipio's
Grave.
grave.
Yeah.
Scipio's grave. And he was a black person that was in town.
So I'm assuming if they do this, it'll go on a map, it'll be like
Yes.
documented in the
There's,
state of
there's
New
8 or
Hampshire
9
that
around the
there's-
state now, and there's different towns doing this,
Yeah,
and
I guess I didn't understand the whole.
And the thing is, what
they've done all the research on it.
what
and
we're
also-
doing, we're drafted here is a letter of support that will go forward to the committee. So I'd say, are we in consensus to sign it?
I do.
Yeah. Let's do it then.
Kudos to Donna for finding all these things that help beautify the town and make it a even more
And
interesting place to.
Fred Mullins been helping her out, doing all the
You know,
research.
I'm fine
Who
with my.
is?
Fred Mullins.
Fred
Fred Mullen, yeah.
Justin, we gotta go get the rock.
Why, did they find one? They were
Not
still
yet.
searching for one.
I found 3.
You did?
Yep.
Are they big enough?
Yep.
How big?
Oh, I'm telling you, they're big enough.
They are?
One of them is about this wide by probably 5 feet,
Oh.
about 10 inches thick.
What are we talking about for rock?
Moving a 200 to get it rock to that size.
With the plaque on it.
Cause they wanna get a older rock from somewhere around town to
Yeah.
put the plaque on.
The
Which I
plaque's
think
pretty
it's
good size, it's not
12 by
big as that.
18, I believe.
Justin,
yes.
I actually found one in the cemetery right there, not 50 feet from his
Oh, you
grave.
did?
Yeah,
Oh, that'll work out good.
And that-
Perfect,
that's a
Yeah.
town, that's right on Page property.
yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And, what size is the plaque? It's like 12 by 18, I thought
Yeah,
you said.
exactly,
12 by 18.
Is this for
12 by
this,
15.
for this one here?
Scipio, yeah.
Correct.
So it doesn't have to go far, in other words?
It's like 50 feet away.
Leo,
Oh,
Bill
geez.
Nichols offered to help move that,
Yeah.
if, it's something he could do with one of his pieces of equipment.
All you need is a tractor.
And Don
A
has one.
tractor?
I saw you pick up all that stone with your tractor.
Yeah, but that's big rock.
No,
No?
listen, what you carried in my backyard with your tractor,
Yeah?
that stone is smaller than that. As a matter of fact, one of those stones that I have would work for it. And the one that I'm talking about in the cemetery is not as big as the one you brought out back, that whole pallet.
Can you identify the stone to one of the cemetery trustees?
Yeah, I walked right over there and I showed, I took a picture of it and sent it to Donna. It's
Oh,
right-
okay.
I was gonna say, I haven't seen that yet. I know, when she came into our meeting last week, she didn't, they were still searching. So,
Well,
I hadn't,
listen,
hadn't heard
I've
since, so.
showed her, I've told her about 3 of them so far.
She wanted the size of a Volvo.
Hasn't looked at one yet.
All right.
Wow.
Okay,
Well, that'll be perfect if we can just, it's 50 feet away, it'll be,
Yeah, it's about
Perfect for
50
that.
feet, maybe 75 feet, but whatever, it's right there.
but still, it's in the vicinity.
Yeah, it's right
He
there.
has a skid steer, he's even better.
alright, moving on.
If Bill can't help with his, I mean, I got enough machines, I'll help him move it.
Okay.
Try and move it
Just
without
gotta,
scraping it up too much.
Well, I have some nylon straps you can use.
Yeah,
okay,
Wrap it around and pick them up, you know?
okay,
yeah, we'll talk about that.
at your next meeting.
Get Leo a chisel, he can chisel it all in.
No, it comes on a brown plaque, it's specific.
I get to you, alright, moving on.
Can tell it's his nephew.
I have to give, I'd like to recognize, the transfer station manager, Mr. Woody Bowden. He, got $33,409, grant for the can crusher, or we implemented down there.
Sue, sweet.
That's through the New Hampshire, the beautiful.
So that's a win-win, kudos to Woody for following up on that. That helps offset the cost of that, and it, what it does is increase the value of our recycled material. All right, we have a vacation request from one of our employees. Okay. I didn't see the payment on there, I don't know where that went. Okay.
Will they pay us to take vacation?
No, the pay, you know, the little bit of token, the envelope is to put that.
Obviously we do.
Okay, a little bit of humor here. This one here, the police chief is not gonna be allowed to go on vacation, we have a police vehicle. We have a small bumper damage to a D1, it's being fixed, it's gonna probably be around, we don't know how much it's gonna be.
3 times we're gonna have to trade that D1 in.
I tell ya. Lean, we'll work with them to make it happen.
So
You
how
wanna
do
know
you,
who's gonna pay for the
It
copay?
should come out of his budget, he's got equipment line.
is
Yeah,
that
he does.
how I would
Yeah.
let
How
him
much,
know? So
insur-
basically, in the town's operating budget, we have insurance and we have insurance other. We always put the one deductible in that line, which is $1,000.
It's
So
already
we've already
used
had that, it's already been used, so that's been zeroed out. He does have about 7,300, 73, just under, his annual budget was 7,500, he's used like $150, so. If the board is directing him to get it fixed, we've got a quote, it was around $1,700.
That's about right.
So we will get, the difference, less the $1,000 copay, so where do I charge
His
that
budget.
$1,000?
Why don't you ask him about his budget, if he has any issues with that, then come back to us next time.
Okay,
If
gotcha,
there's issues, we can address it then,
okay, gotcha.
I agree with
If
that.
there's issues, we'll just do it out of ours, but
It's maintenance, yeah, repair job. Okay, electric bill, Lean talked about already. You know, it's, I was looking, it's amazing how the rates doubled from last year, and it's almost exactly doubled what.
everybody felt it at their homes, believe it or not, too.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue on now. I'm gonna open up for public comment, again,
Yeah.
back row.
Okay, I sent everybody an email this week, I know you didn't get it,
No.
and you might have got yours. I don't know.
I don't think so, but.
Okay, so the email you sent me came back undeliverable the other day.
What email?
The email for,
Town of Dunbarton, something
no,
like
for
that.
the selectmen.
Selectmen?
Yeah,
Well then, if you typed it in manually, you typed it in wrong, cause
I read it and it was exactly what you gave me, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't
Okay.
matter. And I didn't know if you were gonna get yours, but anyways,
No.
this is what I wanna get fixed, okay? And I've been talking, and then I talked to them.
I tried looking at it, but I couldn't tell which name it was.
Okay, this should be an R here.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have a pen, so I can't. This should be an R.
You're gonna chisel that one?
Yeah,
I get some black paint in the truck.
that's the problem. Underline that name there, that's it. Yeah, that's the guy that you can see. And what happened was, the old marker was wood, and I got a picture of it, and I looked at it, and some of the letters had parts of them missing. And probably the top of that R was gone, and it looked like an H, and I took it an H, see? So that's what happened.
It's kind of funny, because you got some capitals and then they have small n.
It should be an R,
Humroll.
Rumrow,
Rumroll.
Okay,
Rumroll Clifton?
Clifton Rumble, yeah.
you have a contact who can do it for,
Well, I keep calling and I talked to this fellow Leo, who finally told me he only works part-time, so that's why when I call sometimes I can't talk to him. I spoke to, a woman there, and she said she'll talk to somebody, but I've talked to them quite a few times, both of them. And so, I'm not saying that they're, blowing me off or anything, what I'm thinking is, maybe somebody from this office, you
Send me the
talking to
names.
them, or you guys talking to them,
Could you just
because you
give-
connected
just
them.
I have
Right.
some, even my office staff is very convincing, I just saved like $900 on our IT billing,
Yeah.
just by asking, so
Okay,
the office
so,
staff does the same thing.
could you write the point of contact that you've been dealing with?
Leo,
No, not you,
Leo's who I've been talking, yes.
that's all. in
Oh,
another.
you didn't give me his last name, but.
Okay.
No wonder you're not getting it done, you keep talking to yourself a
If you
lot.
can get me,
Oh, it's just,
Leo.
Perry Monument.
oh, Perry, okay, I got
There you go.
invoices.
Yeah,
Yeah, I figured you guys have
Yeah.
more contact with them. you know?
Lean, we can,
Yeah, I don't talk
there
too
are,
much, but Don does.
there are some other companies that do it too, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Telephone quote's all we need.
Yeah, right, well,
Yeah.
right, that's what I tried to explain to them, is could you at least give me an idea what it
Yeah.
might cost, so I can talk to the select board,
Yeah.
because nobody's gonna wanna do anything until we find that out, right?
Right.
I know it's not gonna be a fortune, but.
No, but the thing is, I'd say, I like it in
So-
Pauline.
that should be an hour.
Ah, yeah, rum rill.
Just, if it's reasonable, just let
If
it.
it's reasonable, I like the Pauline to make it happen, and we in consensus with that.
I think the
Lean-
family would be happy to see that
Lean,
fixed,
if
you
it's a
know?
reasonable amount of money, you have authority to go ahead and do it.
I'll spend your money.
It's small.
Can I just have one, this one's got round scribbles? I just wanna scan it to the gentleman and point it out with a little bit more.
Thank you, Leo, for doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked, I couldn't find the misspelled name over there.
He
Well,
did, I
unless-
was with.
Unless you know the name, it's hard to
On
find
the
the
other side,
spelled
it
one,
wouldn't
you
be
know?
me.
Bob, anything?
Nothing.
Sir,
Nate,
Nate?
Morse Road. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to see if the board would be supportive of me putting a second truck on with the highway department, for plowing snow in the wintertime.
Who would be the driver? I don't understand, the second truck. Go further.
You got somebody else that wants to drive another truck?
Potentially.
That'd be,
I'm not gonna say any names.
Understood.
I'm not gonna put my foot in my mouth and then not,
So you have a
not
poten-
be
you have
able
a
to
poten- you
follow
have a-
through. I said try.
yeah, you have a potential, another person who wanted to plow for the town of
I
Dunbar.
need a driver, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
a driver.
I would say, I'd be willing to entertain that, but road agent would have to bless it. And when I say bless it, not bless it, but I'm saying, I wanted to go through him, and,
Oh, it naturally would.
yeah, and so, I see that as a good possibility, because he was alluding to some of the other plow drivers who are basically getting near retirement. And so we'll be looking for people, in my opinion, as I alluded to earlier this evening. So I would say, yes, consider it a great idea to pursue, and I would just pursue it with Jeff and, see how he feels about it.
I have pursued it with Jeff.
And-
Jeff and I have discussed it a couple times.
Is
I
he-
purchased a second truck.
Yeah,
So
is he looking
You
at?
need a driver.
Is he, yeah, I
Would
understand.
you like to volunteer?
You are close to town.
Tell them you're putting the flags up and down.
Yeah.
No risk for the wicked.
Hey, you can learn how to turn around on a Kelsey Road.
Is it a big truck or small truck?
Big truck. It's another big truck.
Okay.
Dave,
Yeah.
you might move the pole.
Okay, I'd at least, possibility, yes.
Good.
Okay, and so keep working on getting a driver, and then coordinate that with Jeff, and then go from there.
Mhm.
Gentlemen, agreed?
I think it's a good idea, it seems fitting,
Yeah.
so.
Thank you.
There may be, just FYI, one thing that we may be looking at is another opening at the town garages later this year, full-time position.
Yeah, I understand that you guys are discussing that.
Okay, we've discussed it before, and I think that's on the table, we're not gonna take it off the table yet. But the thing is, with the town growing, and with the demand for good plowing services, and with the demand for a shortage of plow drivers, we may just be forced to hire another individual. So,
I think you should look over all your avenues.
yeah, so that's one avenue we're looking at too, okay?
Yes.
So that's situational awareness for you.
Again, I've discussed it with Jeff several times, and I just wanted to get your feeling on it.
Yeah.
And the board's feeling, so.
I think,
I think it's a good idea.
I do too.
Maybe there's potential for Jeff to move routes around, shorten routes for people,
Right.
I don't really know, that's his area of
think he-
expertise, but.
But
I
when
think
you have
that's-
fewer
He
drive,
would-
when you
I
have
don't think he would, shorten any routes, I think the routes actually get longer, and we have more developments coming.
no, you're absolutely correct.
And I think prepare for a lack of manpower.
Amen. Okay,
The biggest thing is you gotta find somebody reliable enough to keep your
Oh,
current
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
That's gonna be
No,
that's gonna be a
I wouldn't
fight in
want- I
itself.
wouldn't wanna make my life more difficult.
You got
Sometimes
two
it
roofs
gets
to
that way,
plow.
even though you don't plan on it, so that goes.
okay. Anything else, Nate?
Yes, I submitted some numbers on repairing the roof in the garage at the town shed.
Right, the thing is, Jeff's got that on his plate, he's gotta get some quotes for us from some other companies. We require, before we don't entertain just one company, we entertain three. Sometimes they have to come out, look at the job, give us a bid on it, and we'll go from there. We don't, I don't think Lean is in, you're the only one who put a responsible bid in. I think we require two more before we award that job.
Is that something that the board and Lean could potentially reach out to a contractor, and request it?
We have that on
Price.
our agenda to do, we're just kinda trying to wrap that up before we get into that stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
So we need this roof done as well.
and the fire
And
department.
the fire department is more than just a roof job, it's actual repair of the ceilings.
Different
That roof on,
companies.
that roof on the garage needs to be attended to first.
Understood, and it's got a Band-Aid on it right now. Okay, so, thank you for submitting your quote, but the thing is, we have to go through a process.
Yeah, I understand that, it's normal procedure, operating procedure for any business or government.
Yep.
Um,
Anything else?
yes, but it slipped my mind.
I'll come back to you if you, before we adjourn, I'll come back to you if you, okay? I'll go to town administrator.
I can say that we had a fairly smooth audit, which is 90% complete. He's got a lot of the numbers that he needs to finish the audit. He's got all the financial numbers that he needs to complete the MS 535 that we need to set the tax rate. The estimated tax warrant has been completed. We are now picking up about 7.2 million in new property assessment, which will help reduce the tax increase by approximately 40 cents. So that does not include any potential abatements that might occur next year, which would then impact that 7,200,000. But where we are right now for new property values, it's increased a little bit.
What happens to the overlay money?
Overlay is what we have to set before the tax rate, so I'm gonna recommend to the board that we stay at the same level that we have in the past, because we still have 3 years outstanding for the utility appeal, which would come out of overlay, and then the only time I see a spike in abatements on the residential level is when we go through a reval year and people don't understand their tax increase, so it involves more cost to the town for the assessor to look at, and with that, typically, there's a negotiating level, so they try to work with people and look at both sides, so it doesn't have to go outside of the community and go to court for,
Okay.
any additional appeals, so those usually spike the appeal, the number of appeals or abatements we'll receive, and then
Okay.
because of the increase that we're anticipating in December, it will happen again for that reason, typically the question is, I haven't done anything to my home, what changed to make my tax rate go up, and then they file an abatement without the understanding behind it, so it just
Snowballs.
continues, so. But, tax warrant's done, audit's behind us, I just completed the, right to know request that I had on my desk for a few weeks that was, lingering, and, making some progress in the office, so.
Okay, thank you. Dave, anything?
I do.
Okay.
We had some big discussions at the Town Hall Restoration Committee. I think, shortly that committee wants to change over to, cause most of the restoration will be done other than some curtains and shades and stuff. The committee would like to turn over to a committee of uses where they promote, healthy town uses of that building second floor, like, Fireside there, the music, they would like to promote stuff that's healthy for the townspeople up there to, have that building used, so I thought that was a good idea. They talked about moving our open house to the same date, the 25th of June, which is the same date that the fire department has their chicken barbecue. And then staying open like half a day, so the first group of people could walk through, then the second people could walk through and just having cake. And I tried to talk to them about, when do you have the ribbon cutting? On the first group or the second group or in the middle of the two groups? And
You know, I'm not so concerned about ribbing, I think people just wanna, I would wanna just see.
Let me
Yeah.
finish, cause we did a whole big discussion,
Yeah.
so. Anyway, the long and short of it, I said, you know, we were trying to make kind of a special event about that building and about the uses for it, and have some live music up there. And having it the same day as the cookout and staying over there for the half a day or whatever, seemed to be a long drawn out thing where you're gonna get a bunch of people walking through, kinda, I called it tire kickers and walking out without a lot of real, you know, representation to the building. So going back around with all the different group peoples and the reason why and why not to do it, it was decided to keep it on June 10th,
Okay,
the same date we had talked about already.
yeah,
Their biggest thing was who was gonna cook on June 10th, because the Casanos normally cook on Old Home Day and they didn't wanna burden them. And I said, if nothing else, if we can't find anybody else to cook, we will cook for them. So I volunteered our group to cook.
you can't do that.
As
Fine,
a single
I-
selectman,
I already said I
volunteered
would,
you.
I already said I would, so.
Yeah, Justin did say it, and now we're hauling you into it, Mike.
I have a grill for it too, so.
So,
Do you have exact time, are you gonna get like a flyer or any kind of advertising? for them?
we're gonna let them take care of all that.
Yeah,
We're gonna stick with just hamburgers and hot dogs straight, I mean, hamburgers / cheeseburgers and hot dogs. They're doing water, they're getting all that, I told them we were gonna do the food part of it, at no charge to the public there, so we'll get an estimate on what we need, and, you know, do this.
You gonna cook that upstairs?
it's just, people call the office, so it would be
Gonna cook it
important for
upstairs?
us to have
No,
as much information like the time, the real date, something I can put on the
they're
website.
putting that together now,
Okay,
cause the time was up in the air.
okay.
George Holt's band is gonna play up there. These are their thoughts now. I wanted to kinda do it during the midday. Their thought is to do it starting at 5 o'clock. Come for your burgers and hot dogs at 5, ribbon cutting at 5:30, upstairs at 6 for George to start. They want me to do a small speech about, the donations, and thanking, you know, select board, previous select boards and all that stuff. And they wanna do a special invite list of people that have
Don't
donated
forget,
too.
carry in, carry out.
Yeah.
All those hot dogs and
We're
hamburgers.
signing you up for it. So, anyway, June 10th will be the date, tentative 5 to 7. George is gonna play for an hour and a quarter with his band, he's a local band. And, there was some discussion about other groups, you know, boys clubs or wherever else, if they wanted flyers, they could have a table of flyers up there. That was the date they're gonna pick, and they kinda wanna keep it at a short time where we just came,
That's a great idea.
get it done, get it over with.
Yeah, I think Mary kinda did that with hers,
Yeah,
right?
it was a
She
couple
did it,
hours.
yeah, just a
It
small
was morning,
block
morning,
time.
and it's like.
And I was hoping we could have it combined with her, also, I think they're gonna hit Bill Zeller up to read the Ode to Dunbarton again, cause I'll tell you that went over really well when Bill read that up there at Don Mary's thing. Not to have the same thing, but I think there'd be a lot of different people there. So, I had signed utility easement poles for that moving of the pole over on Kelsey Road with, Unitil. Apparently to move that pole, they need to move ones on my property, so that is taken care of, they kept saying it was me. I said, call them up right here, Donna, while I'm standing here. And we took care of it, Jeff was there, Donna was there, and I was there.
Oh, beautiful, making progress then. It
Well, I
might
had the
happen.
easement, but they had the wrong pole, I'm like, I can't sign the wrong pole, so I made her call them up right there, instead of chasing them around, you know?
Again, for the public, this is, all to do, this a telephone pole smack in the middle of the turnaround. It moves it so we can get a big truck up there. Thank you, David.
So, I have our local roofer in town on Monday working on a project, and I will try and swing him up through here to look at those roofs.
All three,
No,
which one?
this one and that one.
Okay, well,
That roof is a special job,
okay.
the other
It's
two
gonna
are
hurt.
time.
Be an
Need some scrub-
RFP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to work on an RFP for that.
But the problem with that building is to write the RFP up, it has to be looked at first, cause there's 3 different types of buildings here,
Yep.
so.
Almost an
Yeah.
The
engineer,
RFP will be,
challenging.
challenging.
Jeff Drexler.
Maybe leave it an open RFP. And decide which one you may be best for the town.
Okay. Anything else, Dave?
That's it for me.
Justin?
Nothing today.
Okay. I don't know, I'm ready to
So
run.
Justin, you have the grill, we do have somebody bringing 2 10 by 10 pop-ups for us. That has them for the garden club, I think.
And what's the plan? People are gonna stand and eat?
Mike's gonna bring aprons, they're just gonna feed them right out here like Mary did on their way in. If it's a rain day, we'll let them take them up there and serve them up there up top, but they'll be cooked outside.
What do you have for a grill?
Just 6 foot wide, but
Yeah.
about 2 feet deep.
Yeah, that's what we
Big
have
grill.
too, I have one of those.
You think he just cooks 2 hot dogs at a time?
I was gonna say, I don't know. Just a little lever, 2 burner.
She says, are you sure you're gonna be able to cook? I said, listen, our no family as big as half this town. We can cook for people.
We know how to eat and cook.
Yeah.
If
It's
you
gonna
get
be,
too close, we'll have an arm.
it's gonna be one for you, one for me, one for you.
No, 1 for you, 2 for me. Mike, you bring the aprons.
I tell ya.
Get names on them.
Yeah, make sure.
Selectmen cook group.
Can I ask you, Dave, who, if I had to reach out to the restoration group,
Yeah,
who's in charge now?
Edith is in charge.
She's,
Enid.
okay,
Yeah.
so,
But
I'm-
Nora's kinda taken over
Okay.
too, so.
okay, Nora and Enid.
So they're co-chairs, so.
I just don't wanna step on anybody's toes, sometimes I have
Margaret was
questions.
setting the time with George, and I think she's done that.
Okay,
I
just
talked
in
to
case
them
I need
both
to
today.
reach out to anybody. That's-
Yeah.
So 5 to 7, that's interesting.
That's what they're
hours.
thinking, it might be 7:30, cause if he plays a little long or something, but
Yeah.
I kinda want it when it was brighter out during the daytime,
Mhm.
but
Yeah,
they
still-
wanted to have it like evening hours for the music.
But it'll still be bright, I mean, still be bright.
Oh, yeah.
At 6:30, we had a nice sunset coming in that
Well,
building
it's
the other
just
day.
getting dark now, it'll be light at 8 still, the sun will be going down, but,
Now, I did ask him, cause I said, you know, we're doing the ribbon cutting on the 2 pillars out here as, before we go in, so they're gonna switch us out and have some other cooks hand off and,
okay.
Leo's cooking for me. Pro temp.
I eat too.
cook. And Bob, we're gonna watch you there too.
Believe it or not, I might not eat as much as them, but I'm pretty good
I'm
at
gonna
it.
recognize the past select group too that started on the project, and thank you for putting me on that project, really. Giving up half my life. Thanks, Bob.
But it'll be one of your accomplishments.
Yeah.
In 100 years, nobody's gonna remember.
No. Ain't gonna remember 1 year.
Okay, motion to adjourn, gentlemen.
I'll second.
Okay, let's call it a day, no non-public.
Okay.
Yes.
That's all. And
Well, he
another,
didn't give me his last name, but.
Okay.
No wonder you're not getting it done, you keep talking to yourself a
If you
lot.
can get me-
Oh, it's just,
Leo.
Perry Monument.
Oh, Perry, okay, I got
There you go.
invoices.
yeah,
Yeah, I figured you guys have
Yeah.
more contact with them. you know?
Lean, we can,
Yeah, I don't talk
there
too
are,
much, but Don does.
there are some other companies that do it too, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Telephone quote's all we need.
Yeah, right, well,
Yeah.
right, that's what I tried to explain to them, is could you at least give me an idea what it
Yeah.
might cost, so I can talk to the select board,
Yeah.
because nobody's gonna wanna do anything until we find that out, right?
Right.
I know it's not gonna be a fortune, but.
No, but the thing is, I'd say, I like to
So-
impose
so-
these.
that should be an hour
Ah,
instead of
yeah, rum grill.
Just,
If it's reasonable, just let
if
it.
it's reasonable, I like to impose Lean to make it happen, and we can consensus with that.
I think the
Lean,
family would be happy to see that
Lean,
fixed,
if
you
it's a
know?
reasonable amount of money, you have authority to go ahead and do it.
I'll spend your money.
It's small.
Can I just have one, this one's got round scribbles? I just wanna scan it to the gentleman and point it out with a little bit more.
Thank you, Leo, for doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked, I couldn't find the misspelled name over there.
He
Well,
did,
unless-
I was with.
Unless you know the name, it's hard to
On
find
the
the
other side,
spelled
it
one,
wouldn't
you know?
be.
Bob, anything?
Nothing.
Sir,
Nate,
Nate?
Morse Road. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to see if the board would be supportive of me putting a second truck on with the highway department, for plowing snow in the wintertime.
Who would be the driver? I don't understand, the second truck. Go further.
You got somebody else that wants to drive another truck?
Potentially.
That'd be,
I'm not gonna say any names.
Understood.
I'm not gonna put my foot in my mouth and then not,
So you have-
not be
you have-
able to
you
follow
have-
through. I said try.
yeah, you have a
second
potential,
truck.
another person who wanted to plow for the town of
I
Dunbarton.
need a driver, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
a driver.
I would say, I'd be willing to entertain that, but road agent would have to bless it. And when I say bless it, not bless it, but I'm saying, I wanted to go through him, and,
Oh, it naturally would.
yeah, and so, I see that as a good possibility, because he was alluding to some of the other plow drivers who are basically getting near retirement. And so we'll be looking for people, in my opinion, as I alluded to earlier this evening. So I would say, yes, consider it a great idea to pursue, and I would just pursue it with Jeff and, see how he feels about it.
I have pursued it with Jeff.
And-
Jeff and I have discussed it a couple times.
Is
I
he-
purchased a second truck.
Yeah,
so
is he looking
You
at?
need a driver.
Is he, yeah, I
Would
understand.
you like to volunteer?
I
You are close to town.
Tell them you're putting the flags up and down.
Yeah.
No risk for the wicked.
Hey, you can learn how to turn around on a Kelsey Road.
Is it a big truck or small truck?
It's a big truck.
Commercial truck?
It's another big truck.
Okay.
Dave,
Yeah.
you might move the pole.
Okay, I'd at least a possibility, yes.
Good.
Okay, and so keep working on getting a driver, and then coordinate that with Jeff, and then go from there.
Mhm.
Gentlemen, agreed?
I think it's a good idea, it seems fitting,
Yeah.
so.
Thank you.
There may be, just FYI, one thing that we may be looking at is another opening at the town garages later this year, full-time position.
Yeah, I understand that you guys are discussing that.
Okay, we've discussed it before, and I think that's on the table, we're not gonna take it off the table yet. But the thing is, with the town growing, and with the demand for good plowing services, and with the demand for a shortage of plow drivers, we may just be forced to hire another individual. So,
I think you should look over all your avenues.
yeah, so that's one avenue we're looking at too, okay?
Yes.
So that's situational awareness for you.
Again, I've discussed it with Jeff several times, and I just wanted to get your feeling on it.
Yeah.
And the board's feeling, so.
I think,
I think it's a good idea.
I do too.
Maybe there's potential for Jeff to move routes around, shorten routes for people,
Right.
I don't really know, that's his area of
think he-
expertise, but I
But when
think
you have fewer drive, when you
I
have
don't
few,
think he would, shorten any routes. I think the routes actually get longer, and we have more developments coming.
no, you're absolutely correct.
And I think prepare for a lack of manpower.
Amen. Okay,
The biggest thing is you gotta find somebody reliable enough to keep you
Oh,
driving
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
that's gonna be,
No,
that's gonna be
I
a
wouldn't
fight in
want- I
itself.
wouldn't wanna make my life more difficult.
You got
Sometimes
two
it
routes
gets
to
that way,
plow.
even though you don't plan on it, that's how that goes.
okay. Anything else, Nate?
Yes, I submitted some numbers on repairing the roof in the garage at the town shed.
Right, the thing is, Jeff's got that on his plate, he's gotta get some quotes for us from some other companies. We require, before we don't entertain just one company, we entertain three. Sometimes they have to come out, look at the job, give us a bid on it, and we'll go from there. We don't, I don't think Lean is in, you're the only one who put a responsible bid in. I think we require two more before we award that job.
Is that something that the board and Lean could potentially reach out to a contractor, and request it?
We have that on
Price.
our agenda to do, we're just kinda trying to wrap that up before we get into that stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
So we need this roof done as well.
and the fire
And
department.
the fire department is more than just a roof job, it's actual repair of the ceilings.
That roof on the garage needs to be attended to first.
Understood, and it's got a Band-Aid on it right now. Okay, So, thank you for submitting your quote, but the thing is, we have to go through a process.
Yeah, I understand that, it's normal procedure, operating procedure for any business or government.
Yep.
Um,
Anything else?
yes, but it slipped my mind.
I'll come back to you if, before we adjourn, I'll come back to you if you,
Mhm.
okay? I'll go to town administrator.
I can say that we had a fairly smooth audit, which is 90% complete. He's got a lot of the numbers that he needs to finish the audit. He's got all the financial numbers that he needs to complete the MS 535 that we need to set the tax rate. The estimated tax warrant has been completed. We are now picking up about 7.2 million in new property assessment, which will help reduce the tax increase by approximately 40 cents. So that does not include any potential abatements that might occur next year, which would then impact that 7,200,000. But where we are right now for new property values, it's increased a little bit.
What happens to the overlay money?
Overlay is what we have to set before the tax rate, so I'm gonna recommend to the board that we stay at the same level that we have in the past, because we still have 3 years outstanding for the utility appeal, which would come out of overlay, and then the only time I see a spike in abatements on the residential level is when we go through a reval year and people don't understand their tax increase, so it involves more cost to the town for the assessor to look at, and with that, typically, there's a negotiating level, so they try to work with people and look at both sides, so it doesn't have to go outside of the community and go to court for,
Okay.
any additional appeals, so those usually spike the appeal, the number of appeals or abatements we'll receive, and then
Okay.
because of the increase that we're anticipating in December, it will happen again for that reason, typically the question is, I haven't done anything to my home, what changed to make my tax rate go up, and then they file an abatement without the understanding behind it, so it just
The snowballs.
continues, so. But, tax warrant's done, audit's behind us, I just completed the, right to know request that I had on my desk for a few weeks that was, lingering and, making some progress in the office, so.
Okay, thank you. Dave, anything?
I do.
Okay.
We had some big discussions at the Town Hall Restoration Committee. I think, shortly that committee wants to change over to, cause most of the restoration will be done other than some curtains and shades and stuff. The committee would like to turn over to a committee of uses where they promote, healthy town uses of that building second floor, like, Fireside there, the music, they would like to promote stuff that's healthy for the townspeople up there to, have that building used, so I thought that was a good idea. They talked about moving our open house to the same date, the 25th of June, which is the same date that the fire department has their chicken barbecue. And then staying open like half a day, so the first group of people could walk through, then the second people could walk through and just having cake, and I tried to talk to them about, when do you have the ribbon cutting? On the first group or the second group or in the middle of the two groups? And
I'm not so concerned about ribbing, I think people just would want to just see.
Let me finish,
Yeah.
cause we did a whole big discussion,
Yeah.
so. Anyway, the long and short of it, I said, we were trying to make kind of a special event about that building and about the uses for it, and have some live music up there. And having it the same day as a cookout and staying over there for the half a day or whatever, seemed to be a long drawn out thing where you're gonna get a bunch of people walking through, kinda, I called it tire kickers and walking out without a lot of real, representation to the building. So going back around with all the different group peoples and reason why and why not to do it, it was decided to keep it on June 10th,
Okay.
the same date we had talked about already.
Yep.
Their biggest thing was who was gonna cook on June 10th, because the Casanos normally cook on Old Home Day and they didn't wanna burden them. And I said, if nothing else, if we can't find anybody else to cook, we will cook for them. So I volunteered our group to cook.
You can't do that.
As
Fine,
a single
I-
selectman,
I
I
already said I would.
volunteered you.
I already said I would, so.
Yeah, Justin did say it, and now we're hauling you into it, Mike.
I have a grill for it too, so.
So,
Do you have exact time, are you gonna get like a flyer or any kind of advertising?
we're gonna let them take care of all that.
Yeah,
We're gonna stick with just hamburgers and hot dogs straight, I mean, hamburgers / cheeseburgers and hot dogs. They're doing water, they're getting all that, I told them we were gonna do the food part of it, at no charge to the public there, so we'll get an estimate on what we need, and, you know, do this.
You gonna cook that upstairs?
it's just, people call the office, so it would be
Gonna cook it
important for
upstairs?
us to have
No,
as much information like the time, the real date, something I could put on the
they're
website.
putting that together now,
Okay,
cause the time was up in the air.
okay.
George Holt's band is gonna play up there. These are their thoughts now. I wanted to kinda do it during the midday. Their thought is to do it starting at 5 o'clock. Come for your burgers and hot dogs at 5, ribbon cutting at 5:30, upstairs at 6 for George to start. They want me to do a small speech about, the donations, and thanking, you know, select board, previous select boards and all that stuff. And they wanna do a special invite list to people that have
Don't
donated
forget,
too.
carry in, carry out.
Yeah.
All those hot dogs and
We're
hamburgers.
signing you up for it. So, anyway, June 10th will be the date, tentative 5 to 7. George is gonna play for an hour and a quarter with his band, he's a local band. And, there was some discussion about other groups, you know, boys clubs or whatever else, if they wanted flyers, they could have a table of flyers up there. That was the date they're gonna pick, and they kinda wanna keep it at a short time where everybody just came,
That's a great idea.
get it done, get it over with.
Yeah, I think Mary kinda did that with hers,
Yeah,
right?
it was a
She
couple
did it,
hours.
yeah, just a
It was
small
morning,
block
morning,
time.
and it's like.
And I was hoping we could have it combined with our, also, I think they're gonna hit Bill Zeller up to read the On to Dunbarton again, cause I'll tell you that went over really well when Bill read that up there at Mary's thing. Not to have the same thing, but I think there'd be a lot of different people there.
Mm.
So, I had signed utility easement poles for that moving of the pole over on Kelsey Road with, Unitil. Apparently to move that pole, they need to move ones on my property, so that is taken care of, they kept saying it was me. I said, call them up right here, Donna, while I'm standing here. And we took care of it, Jeff was there, Donna was there, and I was there.
Oh, beautiful, making progress then.
Well, I had the easement, but they had the wrong pole, I'm like, I can't sign the wrong pole, so
Mm.
I made her call them up right there, instead of chasing them around, you know?
Again, for the public, this is, all to do, this a telephone pole smack in the middle of the turnaround. It moves it so we can get a big truck up there. Thank you, David.
So, I have our local roofer in town on Monday working on a project, and I will try and swing him up through here to look at those roofs.
All three,
No,
which one?
this one and that one.
Okay, we're
That
gonna.
roof is a special job.
Okay.
The other
It's
people
gonna
are
hurt.
time.
Be an RFP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to work on an RFP for that.
But the problem with that building is to write the RFP up, it has to be looked at first, cause there's 3 different types of buildings here,
Yep.
so.
Almost an
Yeah.
The
engineer,
RFP will be,
challenging.
challenging.
Jeff Drexler.
Maybe leave it an open RFP. And decide which one you may be best for the town.
Okay. Anything else, David?
That's it for me.
Justin?
Nothing today.
Okay. I don't know, I'm ready to
So
run.
Justin, you have the grill, we do have somebody bringing 2 5x10 pop-ups for us. That has them for the garden club, I think.
And what's the plan? People are gonna stand and eat?
Mike's gonna bring aprons, they're just gonna feed them right out here like Mary did on their way in. If it's a rain day, we'll let them take them up there and serve them up there up top, but they'll be cooked outside.
What do you have for a grill?
Just 6 foot wide, but
Yeah.
about 2 feet deep.
Yeah, that's what we
Big
have
grill.
too, I have one of those.
You think he just cooks 2 hot dogs at a time?
I was gonna say, I don't know. Just a little lever, 2 burner.
She says, are you sure you're gonna be able to cook? I said, listen, our no family's big as half this town. We can cook for people.
We know how to eat and cook.
Yeah.
If
It's
you
gonna
get too
be,
close, we'll have an arm.
it's gonna be one for you, one for me, one for you.
No, one for you, two for me. Mike, you bring the aprons.
I tell ya.
Get names on them.
Yeah, make sure.
Selectmen Cook Group.
Can I ask you, Dave, who, if I had to reach out to the restoration group,
Yeah,
who's in charge now?
Edith is in charge.
She's,
Enid.
okay,
Yeah.
so,
But
I'm-
Nora's kinda taken over
Okay.
too, so.
okay, Nora and Enid.
So they're co-chairs, so.
I just don't wanna step on anybody's toes, sometimes. I
Margaret was
function-
setting the time with George, and I think she's done that.
Okay,
I
just
talked
in
to
case
them
I need to
both
reach
today.
out to anybody. That's-
Yeah.
So 5 to 7, that's interesting.
That's what they're
hours.
thinking, it might be 7:30, cause if he plays a little long or something, but
Yeah.
I kinda want it when it was brighter out during the daytime,
Mhm.
but
Yeah,
they
still-
wanted to have it like evening hours for the music.
But it'll still be bright, I mean, still be bright.
Oh, yeah.
At 6:30, we had a nice sunset coming in that
Well,
building
it's
the other
just
day.
getting dark now, it'll be light at 8 still, the sun will be going down, but,
Now, I did ask him, cause I said, you know, we're doing the ribbon cutting on the two pillars out here as, before we go in, so they're gonna switch us out and have some other cooks hand off and,
okay.
Leo's cooking for me. Pro temp.
I eat
Hotel
too.
cook. And Bob, we're gonna watch you there too.
Believe it, I
Okay.
might not eat as much as them, but I'm pretty good
I'm
at
gonna
it.
recognize the past select group too that started on the project, and thank you for putting me on that project, really. Giving up half my life. Thanks, Bob.
But it'll be one of your accomplishments.
Yeah,
In 100 years, nobody's gonna remember.
no. Ain't gonna remember 1 year.
Okay, motion to adjourn, gentlemen.
I'll second.
Okay, let's call it a day. No non-public.
Okay.